All right, everybody, we are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, make sure you guys go to dynastymirror.com. Again, make sure you guys go to dynastymirror.com while you're there. Buy some merchandise, buy some books as well. And also, please join the email list. Again, please join the email list. And we're going to jump right into this, you guys. Without further ado, we have Mr. Holip Sism. And the thing is, like, I was thinking about this topic for a while now because obviously, well, I've been telling people, I've been making it known. If I vote, I'm going to vote third party. And someone, a black Biden supporter, said, Dynast, if you vote third party, if you don't vote, that just proves that white supremacy has beat you and has defeated you. That just proves it. And then I responded, are you are you fighting white supremacy by voting for Joe Biden? And he said, yes. And I just had to bring my militant integration, Negro, Captain Black American whisperer, Mr. Holip Sism, in to break down and to properly articulate and to translate are you fighting white supremacy by voting for Joe Biden? Because again, I said I'm either not voting. I mean, this is how this is how my voting process is going to take place. I'm going to drive by the poll. If I see that it's going to take me longer than 20 minutes to vote, I'm just going to keep it pushing. If not, I'm going to hop out the car. I'll vote third party. But per my friend, if I do that, I have been defeated by white supremacy. And I am a slave to white supremacy. So then I asked him, okay, so by voting for Joe Biden, are you fighting white supremacy? And he said, yes. So hold up, you're an expert in these matters. Can you first introduce yourself and then go ahead and break that down?
Oh boy, I'm an unofficial expert, like an accidental expert. Peace, everybody. You know what I find funny?
Go ahead.
That ever since the George Floyd murder, right, that happened, and everybody saw that, and everybody responded to it with, the protests and the Black Lives Matter movement, and there was this whole energy around police brutality.
Right.
And the Democrats' response to that is to elect the guy who authored the crime bill and the top cop in California responsible for between the both of them are responsible for putting more black people in jail than anybody. I just find that interesting.
But hold up. The excuse has been they were just doing their job.
Okay. So
Kamala and Biden. Yeah, they were just
that's
doing
what
their
you
job.
heard from them? That's
That's
what
what
they say?
they were just doing their job.
Mm. I've said this before, but people haven't seen or heard me on your show for a while. So I think I just want to repeat it.
Go ahead.
Um, there's only one party in America. There's not two parties. So when you get caught up in this two-party paradigm, you're missing the picture. You're missing the boat. The Democrats and the Republicans are the same party. Fundamentally, there's no difference policy-wise between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't want a single-payer universal health care. Neither does Joe Biden.
Right.
Donald Trump doesn't want living wage. Neither does Joe Biden. And keep in mind, like, they don't even want single-payer health care in the midst of a pandemic.
Right.
They don't want you to be absolved of your college debt. The Democrats or the Republicans, neither one. And the thing that people got to really understand about the Democratic Party is that the Democratic Party, this has already happened. It happened in 2016. The Democrat Party would rather lose to the Republicans than to fight for any policies that would benefit American people. They would rather lose. And I said that to many people, and people were like looking at me like I'm crazy. They're like, what do you mean they would rather lose? Has anybody ever seen the Harlem Globetrotters play the Washington Generals?
No.
You know?
Okay, hold on. That's the Washington General. That's a professional team, right?
No, that's a team that they put to play the Harlem Globetrotters.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, yeah, I have actually. Yes, I was getting mixed up with the Washington professional team. But yes, I have.
Yeah, their job is
It's to lose
to lose,
on
but to
purpose.
make the game entertaining. And that's what the Democrats' role is in politics. It's like the Democrats and the Republicans, no matter who you vote for, the American people are going to lose.
Mhm.
and
Right.
and then when you talk about black folks is going to be losing regardless.
Right.
We're like we're losing incidentally. Nobody even like is looking out for us. Not even black people is looking out for black people here in America.
Mhm.
And if nobody believes me, name somebody that's a mainstream talking black head that's pushing for black folks to have a nation of their own. Name
Not
one person in
not
the public that people can that has a big ass microphone that people can listen to. Name one. I dare you. So
can't
this
name
whole thing about fight, he actually said that we're fighting white supremacy by voting for Joe Biden.
right. Swear, I promise you.
What's the difference? Like, all right, Trump has been president since 2016. Can
Right.
you tell me how your life is fundamentally changed?
Everybody's talking point right now, outside of he's just a mean man that happens to be orange, is now the COVID-19, the way he handled it. That's everybody's talking point now. But before that, it's just he's a mean orange man. He's just mean.
I'm wondering, all right, so let's say that Joe Biden was in office during this pandemic. Do you think
Same
that
thing
there
would have
wouldn't
happened.
be,
Same,
you
it
don't
would have
think that
written
there
out
wouldn't have
today.
been an
No,
anti-mask and it would have been
no,
even worse?
it would have been worse.
I mean, do people not realize how big a mouth breathers these American public is? I don't know if you noticed, but I'm banned off of Facebook for like 30 days because I said that.
How do you get banned on Facebook? I don't get that. Like, how does that happen?
Well,
How do
now
you
they're
get banned?
moderating. I don't know what happened, but something happened, and now they're moderating posts. So if you say certain buzzwords or certain things, they'll suspend you. I got suspended. This is what I got suspended for. I said that American people are mouth breathing morons
Mhm.
and an embarrassment on the world stage. Is there anything about that that's not true?
No.
And especially to get suspended for.
Right.
like, so this is what. That's another story. I'm not dealing with Facebook anymore because we have our own forum that we go to and that we can communicate in. So why are we sweating Facebook and all these other forums? There's plenty of black forums you can go to. We have our own forum at the BAIO. We have our own website. So why am I sweating Facebook?
Let me ask you this, Holip. So now I'm gonna respond. I want you to respond to Cleek's comment in the
Hmm.
chat room. Cleek says, "Hey guys, hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Hit the like button." And then Chima, I'm gonna read your super chat, too, brother. I don't like Biden, but a lot of those clowns deserve to be in jail. Okay, let me. Okay, I want you to break this down, Holip. 3 months ago, not even 3 months ago, the '94 crime bill was the worst thing that ever happened to the black community.
Hmm.
It tore the black, it destroyed the black community. It removed the black man from the home. The white man put dope in the black community. The white man put the guns in the black community. The white man removed the factory jobs from the black community. So Pookie had no other option but to
Hmm.
rob and terrorize the black community. See, Pookie is really the victim. He's the victim of the system of racism, white supremacy. See,
Hmm.
racism, white supremacy made Pookie terrorize the black community. And then Ray got 25 years, or he got a lifetime sentence because on his third strike, he stole a bag of potato chips. See, the system is racist. This is racist. And
Hmm.
then Pookie the crackhead gets prison time. The black crackhead gets prison time, but the white crackhead gets rehab. See, the system is racist. We need justice reform. We need prison reform. We need criminal reform. We need that reform. Now, speed up to last week when Kamala gets nominated for vice president. Pookie shouldn't be stealing anyway.
Right.
He deserves to be in prison. Well, hold on. I thought the crime bill was the worst thing that ever happened to the black community. Hold up. What happened in a matter of a week to now it was the best thing that happened to the black community?
Well, the crime
it was racist. It was racist.
The crime bill is what the crime bill is. It hasn't changed. What it's been since the 90s is the same thing. The only difference is that people have to understand what the definition of a hack is. H-A-C-K, a hack. And a hack is a person who has no principles, and their principles switch depending upon what team they're on. So when the Republicans are in charge, then yeah, the crime bill is a problem. The Democrats get in charge. Well, you know, it's not about the crime bill. It's about black folks committing crime. It's called being a hack. Donald Trump can sexually assault somebody. Oh my God, we got to protect women. Sexual assault is the worst thing that can possibly happen. Joe Biden sexually assaults somebody. You know, I mean, can we really believe? I mean, why is she bringing this up now? It's called being a hack. That's all.
Oh, here's my favorite. Like guys like Harvey Weinstein have been protected. I mean, people knew what was going on. Like a long time ago, him and Epstein. Like people knew what was going on, like what they were into.
Right.
You know, and we're giving it a pass.
And they give a pass to their team. So if it's a Democrat doing all it, like, oh, look, all right, let's talk about the presidency. Who did more bombing in the Middle East than Obama?
Obama.
That's an inconvenient truth. Nobody wants to talk about it. Why? Because they like him. He's charismatic. He knows how to speak. So you forget all the shit that he did because you like him, and then it becomes an issue when it's somebody that you don't like. That's a hack.
I'm gonna give you another example, Holip. When Obama invaded Libya and had Gaddafi taken out, Negroes were making every excuse on why it was okay. Trump takes out this Iranian general who nobody knew existed until after Trump took him out. All of a sudden, you would have thought this guy was Fred Hampton. You would have thought he was MLK Jr. You'd have thought he was Malcolm X.
Yeah. Perfect example. It's you can go through 1,000 examples, man. It's like if it's on your team, you get a pass or it's okay. If it's on the other team, now it's an outrage. I can show you. There was a clip of Sean Hannity during Obama's when Obama was president, where when George Bush was president, he was for the Patriot Act. He was for NSA spying and all of that shit. It's like that was all done. We have to do that because we got to keep America safe. When Obama became president, and I can show you the video, like clear contradiction. They don't even fucking care. Now, oh, Big Brother is taking over. We gotta respect the Constitution. The same goddamn issue. But when it was his dude in office, it was okay. When it was another dude in office, it wasn't okay. That's a political hack. And it's unfortunate that black folks are the same way. We're just hacks. See, I can hold my head up because the BAIO, you know when that took form, and this is the ironic part. The BAIO basically came into existence during the Obama era. We didn't say like Whoopi Goldberg, oh wow, now I can put my bags down in America. I felt like I was carrying my bags and I was, like I was never comfortable and this wasn't home, but now I can lay my bags down and I could be. We was not only were we holding our bags, we was trying to get on the goddamn plane. But black folks, would they like you? They'll pass. You get a pass. Nobody ever talks about Obama and the things that he did during his 8 years as president.
Right.
As far as black folks concerned, he was a saint. He's right next to Obama. Is right next to most black folks. Picture of Jesus, white Jesus in their house.
Obama. You are absolutely right. White Jesus, then Obama.
So that's what it's called. It's called being a hack. They don't give a shit about crime. They don't care about the black men being locked up as long as you can get Joe Biden. And let me talk about that.
Let me read this super chat real quick. Hold up.
Okay.
Shout out to Chima Madu. The excuse that I currently hear is that there were a lot of black men who deserved to be in jail at the time. Yeah, that changed overnight.
Here's something. This is a recent thing. Barack Obama gave his little speech at the Democratic convention. This virtual speech. Did you see it?
I didn't watch it, man.
Okay,
But
I can give you the cliff notes, but
yeah,
I'm going to just use one example. He talked about political participation by young folks, right?
right.
That the problem with society right now is that people don't vote. Young people are not activated to go out there and get active and fight for the issues, right? This is what he's saying.
Right.
Who was responsible for booting Bernie Sanders out of the out of the election and getting Joe Biden elected? Who was behind the scenes fighting against everything that these young people were trying to get policy wise implemented in the DNC? Barack Obama.
Right.
So he's on one hand, he's telling you, well, you guys got to participate. And on the other hand, he's undercutting everything that you do.
Right.
But nobody wants to talk about that. If I've mentioned that, then they'll start talking about Holip. Barack Obama is, this is something that's the truth. This is objective truth. He's a brilliant politician. Brilliant politician, and I think he needs to be studied in terms of his speech making and all of that stuff. But he's completely and utterly full of shit.
Oh God.
He doesn't believe a goddamn thing coming out of his mouth, but he's one of the best speakers ever. I can't take that away from him. If you listen to the dude,
I would say he's worse than Bill Clinton or George Bush as far as he just.
yeah. And I think that's being objective. That's not dogging him. Like, am I making some statement that's untrue?
Right.
He's completely and utterly full of shit. On one hand, he's telling people to do something, and on the next hand, he's cutting them off at the knees while they're trying to do it. Barack Obama is against the same thing that Donald Trump is against. He's against a single-payer healthcare system, Medicare for all, against it. In the middle of a pandemic, they are not going to pass that legislation. Why? Because they get paid off by the insurance company.
Right.
Simple. Joe Biden said this. He said that if they bring Medicare for all to the table as he's president, he will veto it. And the big thing everybody was saying is, well, the reason why we don't want Medicare for all, because these companies have fought, for Medicare for medical coverage for their union members. Well, now all those union members, well, not the union members. Some of the union members have, but a lot of these people have lost their jobs. So now what's the excuse? Before you were saying you couldn't do it because we can't go against that. Now people, what's the unemployment rate now? Near 20% or more. So what's the excuse now? And then the Democratic Party that these people love so much. Where do I start? Can I start with Bernie Sanders?
Start wherever you want to.
Bernie Sanders bent the knee to the Democratic Party. I don't want to hear a goddamn thing Bernie Sanders has to say about anything.
One second. Hey, guys, we'll start taking calls in about 15 minutes. I'll put the link out there. Go ahead, Holip. Sorry about that.
Because he was the avatar for these progressive policies. And he turned out to just be a regular standard, like a Democratic shill. That's what he turned out to be. So he bent the knee and they submitted to Joe Biden. And instead of him pushing for the policies that people really need in the midst of a pandemic, because where have you heard Bernie Sanders really pushing for Medicare for all? I don't hear it. I don't see it. Before he was talking that shit all the time. Now he's talking, well, we got to get rid of Trump.
Right.
So the Democratic Party does not care about the American people. They damn sure don't care about black people.
Right.
And Joe Biden has said this, that nothing will fundamentally change with him as president. And this is the black savior that you want other people to go out there and vote for.
Right. This is how you fight white supremacy, voting for Joe Biden.
This is the savior.
Mm-hmm.
He said nothing will fundamentally change as president. His thing is he's going to all the big DNC donors and he's telling them, listen, you get me in office, I won't do any bad tweets.
But hold on, your girl, and me and you, we really don't see eye to eye on AOC. She backed him.
Yeah, she's the same, just as hypocritical as Bernie is. Mm-hmm. Because they had an opportunity, all of those progressive people in there had an opportunity to push for the policies that they wanted. They could have told Biden, listen, Medicare for all is a line in the sand. If you don't push for Medicare for all, where it has an 80% approval rating across the country, and 50% of Republicans want it, then you ain't getting our vote. And not only will you not get our vote, we will go out there and push for a third party. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to bend the knee. If you had some balls and you had the ability to use your stuff for leverage, Biden would have had no choice but to accept, even if it's just mouthing acceptance. He doesn't have to actually do anything once he gets into office, but he can lie to you. He can at least lie to you and say, yeah, I support Medicare for all. And then when he gets into office, he don't have to do it. That's how the system works anyway. So, it's like AOC is a hypocrite. I would say I don't want to judge their intent because I can't get into somebody's head. But in terms of their strategy and their effectiveness, they have nothing. Right. Nancy Pelosi is like, Tony Soprano in the DNC. None of them are going against her. But I want to know from the people that's pro-Biden, what do you think is going to fundamentally change for black folks under Biden? And then you got Biden, who's, like you said, responsible for the crime bill. And then you got Kamala Harris, who's the top cop in California, responsible. She was trying to lock up parents for truancy for their kids.
But again, Holip, she was just doing her job. They were just doing the job.
Well, then Trump is just doing his job. Why you want to get him out of office? He's just doing his job. And then there's another thing going on too, Dynast. It's this dynamic of, I don't know if anybody ever saw that, that's an old movie, but it's a popular cultural movie in our community, The Mac.
I read the book.
Yeah. In The Mac, there was a scene where this guy, one of the pimps' name was Pretty Tony.
I've seen bits. I've seen parts of the movie, but
you probably seen it on YouTube. If anybody wants to go, just do a clip. Just do a search on Pretty Tony and Goldie. Two pimps.
Right.
And the girl is a hoe, prostitute.
Right.
She's Tony. She's Pretty Tony's prostitute. So
I know where you're going.
Yeah, she goes to, and she's having a conversation with Goldie. And Pretty Tony comes in. He's like, "What the fuck you doing talking to him?" Da 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 da. And basically, she chooses to be with Goldie. And then, of course, Pretty Tony gets upset and they get mad and blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is, what's killing me right now is the stupidity on both sides when it comes to black folks. The stupidity of people who support neoliberal conservatives. I mean, yeah, well, I thought I made a mistake, but that's actually accurate. Neoliberal conservatives and right-wing conservatives. Both of those black folks right now in this situation are trying to appeal to black people about which pimp they should support. Here's a radical thought. Fuck Donald Trump and fuck Joe Biden.
Well, hold on. You can't say that because by saying that, you are now supporting white supremacy. They have got you. They got you now by
Right.
saying that, because we only have a two-party system. We have a
Right.
two-party system. You have to participate in a two-party system. And this is hold up, explain this one. Okay, I'm not gonna vote for Biden. I'm not gonna vote for Trump. I'm gonna write somebody in, or I'm gonna vote third party. The immediate smashing point or drop the mic moment, as you would say, is a vote for a third party is a vote for Trump. But but see, when they calculate the votes, that vote is actually for the third party. How is that a vote for Trump? Like, how does that work? Does somebody end up moving my vote to Trump? Like, how does that work?
Well, think about the presupposition in that and the insinuation. The insinuation is that Donald Trump is going to win regardless.
Mm-hmm.
That's your insinuation. So they've already taken a losing position.
Right.
How is a vote for, like, not voting for Donald Trump a vote for Joe Biden?
Right.
You never hear that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't vote for Joe Biden, it's a vote for Donald Trump. It makes no sense. And also, let's get down to the real heart of it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people think that their vote matters?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a big argument in the community about that. Like, they'll say, oh, well, you need to vote because your vote matters. No, it fucking doesn't. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 3 million. How do you win a popular vote in the country by 3 million and lose the election? And keep in mind, I don't give a fuck about Hillary Clinton.
Right.
I'm just saying, how do you get 3 million votes more than the other person and lose the election? And you're going to tell me that your vote, do those 3 million votes count?
Right.
So anybody
No,
telling you that shit,
They don't.
anybody telling you that shit is bullshitting you. They're playing for a team and they want you to support their team. The DNC, I have another video where the DNC said, it doesn't matter what the public votes for. We're a private entity. We pick who our candidate is going to be. I was like, whoa, I have the video of that. I got to go search for it if you want it. But and it was a black dude who said this. So then what are we voting for? Why are people going to primaries voting for a candidate when you guys are going to pick who you want anyway? So this whole system is corrupt. The Democratic Party is corrupt. The Republican Party is corrupt. So what's the point? Somebody's asking, why is Holip talking about politics when he can't affect change? It's for the same reason why I can talk about the Avengers Endgame. I didn't make the movie. Did I direct it? Did I make the movie? No, the movie's there for public consumption. I'm just looking at it and pointing out what it is. I'm talking about the scene where Tony Stark snaps his finger. That's it's the equivalent of me talking about what's going on with the Republican Party and the Democratic Party.
Let me read the super chat real quick. Hold up. Greetings to Dynasty and Hold Up, my two African brothers. Love and respect to you both from the UK, from your Nigerian brother. Land, infrastructure, and nationhood all the way. Appreciate it, Jughead. All right, go ahead. Hold up.
Yeah, it's like that's all I've been like. I find American politics interesting. It's like a movie to me. So I can sit here and I can tell you about the actors. I can tell you about who directed it. I can tell you about the cinematographers. I know all about the ins and outs and how the dish gets made, just for entertainment purposes, because I know that it doesn't really matter who the president is. What are we as Black folks going to do for our future? Do we have a future? Do we have an end game? Do we have anything that we want to do that doesn't require outside people? Where's the people? Where's our leadership that's pushing for the future and what our future is going to look like? Where are they?
Here's my favorite. Hold on. Here's my favorite. Hold up. See, we have to get Biden and Kamala Harris in office because then we're going to be able to hold them accountable.
Oh, yeah. You can't, if you can't, I want you to think about that statement. There's a pandemic ripping through America. The dumbass mouth breathers in the states like Florida and what is it, Florida and
California,
Texas
Texas,
and all of those places. I'm talking about the right wing idiots
okay.
who are on this anti-mask shit and this everything's a conspiracy. And if you feel that COVID-19 is a conspiracy at this point, I'm looking at you like a mouth breathing idiot. I'm not even hiding it. I don't care if you're a black person and you kicking that bullshit. I'm calling you a mouth breather. And I'm using Japan as an example. Japan had less than 1,000. I think they just passed 1,000 since the pandemic began. And guess how they were able to do that? Every man, woman, and child has a mask on in Japan. So the transmission rate wasn't going crazy like it here is in America because freedom from these mouth breathing idiots. And all of these guys like Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson and the rest of these, Rush Limbaugh and the rest of these idiots that most of these right wing conservative black folks listen to, all of them are wearing masks.
Hold on.
Why they telling you that masks don't mean anything?
Right. Let me. Just this is a sidebar. Do you know, like, as far as ratings go? I watched a video on this the other day. Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, more people are watching that than the NBA playoffs, CNN, MSNBC, like damn near combined.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't shock me. I mean, people, this country is fucking full of mouth breathing, unhinged lunatics and morons. And they're gonna find a way to drum up, fear and stuff like that, or drum up conspiracy theory, because Tucker Carlson and all of these guys are peeling, they like throwing red meat to their mouth breathing base. And just because I'm talking about, see, this is the thing. Because I'm talking about the Republicans, it does not mean that automatically I support the Democrats, because they just as full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a different type of bullshit. None of these parties give a fuck about us. And my thing is this: where's our leadership in our so-called community? What policy positions are we pushing for, Dynas? Could somebody answer that for me?
Well, this was my argument. So somebody was like, "We get Biden and Harris in office, we can hold them accountable." And I told them, like, hold them accountable to what? We're giving away our vote.
Right.
What are you gonna have? How are you gonna hold them accountable? Then he gave me some long, drawn out, well, brother, in the Montgomery bus boycott. See, we boycotted the bus, and I'm like, this is not the same.
No,
Yes, it
it's
is,
not.
because we could unify like we did, the bus boycott. So I'm like, you're giving away your vote. So how can you hold them accountable? And I cannot get a straight answer.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Um, did they protest it? Were there any black folks? Well, there may be some, because this is America. But the vast majority of black folks, were they protesting Barack Obama?
Of course not.
No. You think they're going to protest Joe Biden? Because that's Barack Obama's VP.
In fact, hold
Are
on.
you going to disrespect Joe? You're going to disrespect Obama by going out and protesting against Joe Biden?
Well, and even to take it a little bit further, whenever you even attempted to protest Barack Obama,
Mm-hmm.
they were ready to go to war with you.
Yep. Hacks.
Mm.
Look up that word, hacks. These are hacks. These are people that don't have any principles. So don't come to me telling me how I have to vote for Joe Biden when you don't really give a damn about any of the principles that you've been pushing against when Donald Trump was in office.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, policy wise, Joe Biden is more socially friendly to minorities and LGBTQ community than the Republicans are. That's the only difference. But in terms of overall policy, they agree on 90% when it comes to policy, because Joe Biden is a fucking Republican. I
Right.
don't understand why the Democratic Party just become a right-wing party. It's supposed to be an opposition party. You got the right wing, and then it's supposed to be the left wing.
Right.
The left wing party decided that we want to try to win over right wing Republican voters and fuck our base. That's why when I hear people talking about left wing radical and radical left wing, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Like Donald Trump is trying to paint Joe Biden as a left wing radical. Are you serious? Joe Biden is probably tougher on crime than Donald Trump is.
No.
You think the police are gonna be defunded under Joe Biden, the guy who's responsible for the crime bill?
Right.
And then you got Kamala Harris, there's videos of her laughing while she's telling a story about how she was trying to lock up parents because their kids were truant. And I'm not even going to get into this is she black stuff. Who gives a shit? I'm just going based on her policies and her performance. No, if you're going to go by that, she ain't black. I don't care about her skin tone or who her fucking parents was. That's mouth breather bullshit. What is she doing with her power? Or what has she done with her power? And I keep harking back to Amos Wilson. He said something, and I'll never forget this, and I carry this every time I look at an issue. He says, what makes something African is if it works in the interest of African people. I've yet to hear a better explanation of that.
That's your Cali Enigma. Thank you for the super chat. Donald Trump in office has been the best thing happened to black people. We're more engaged than ever. Engaged how? That's the question. We're currently on the bottom. Shout out to Gregory.
I want to know what engaged means.
Yeah, engaged how, yeah. Allow the entire system to crash and compete from a new starting point. And then let's see here. We got one more super chat in the building. You guys, hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. WM West Coast 1980. A real black man should never be a Democrat. All right, go ahead. Hold up.
Some of these people in this chat room.
Real quick. Remember when Obama said if this was the 1980s, he'll be a Republican?
Yeah.
He said that for real?
Yes. This video, I've played that video a few times of him saying that. He says if it was the 80s, he'd be considered a right-wing conservative, I think, or right-wing Republican. The exact quote, I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, these people, the Democratic Party is not a left-wing party. It's not. You got the far right and then you got the right. There is no left-wing party. So whenever I hear people, I always push back on that. Oh, these left-wing. People got to stop confusing the left with neoliberals. And I think that people have the biggest problem with neoliberals, but they just automatically associate that with the left. Neoliberals hate the left just as much as Republicans. As a matter of fact, I would argue neoliberals hate the left more than Republicans, because I've heard Republicans talk about the way that the left is treated by the Democratic Party.
All right.
If you're a leftist in the political context of what we're talking about today, this is a leftist. Medicare for all or single-payer healthcare system, elimination of college student debt, a living wage, and something that addresses the climate situation. It could be the Green New Deal or whatever. There's many of different programs that address that. But the basic thing is you're addressing climate. You want a living wage. You want free college tuition and elimination of student debt, and you want a single-payer healthcare system. That's the left. So you're going to tell me that that's the Democratic Party? So that's the first problem. We got to know what we're dealing with. It just seems like a lot of people don't really know what they're dealing with. And the reason why is because they're hacks and they're playing for a team. They're playing for either the team with the R, or they're playing with a team with the L on them, or the D, I should say, for Democrats.
Guys, if you support Joe Biden, again, I like to hear differing opinions. Talking points. So we can keep it balanced. If you support Joe Biden, Okay, if you support Joe Biden. Email is in the chat room, Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. Send me an email and I will send you the link and you can call in and state your case.
And I'll
Again,
listen.
yeah, we'll listen. Again, send
I
me an
will
email,
listen.
Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. Call in or email me and I will send you the link and you guys can call in. So I'll go ahead, hold up.
But one thing I'm not gonna do, I'm not going with Goldie just because I don't like Pretty Tony. As a matter of fact, I don't want to be with either one of them niggas.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. It's like we need to stop it with this. It's like, and I see people on the right of us trying to. I see people on the left of us trying to push people to vote for Biden, and they're both mouth. Neither one of them give a damn. You think Donald Trump gives a damn about the black community?
No.
And he's not even pushing for policies that would benefit the black community. And if he does something, you're benefiting from it just by it being incidental. It's not because anybody was thinking about your black ass. So don't get caught up in that game. Don't get caught up in this Democrat versus Republican game, this Joe Biden versus Trump game. Because no matter who, like, what do you think is going to happen to black folks if Donald Trump becomes president for another 4 years? What's going to happen?
Nothing.
Yeah, fundamentally nothing.
Right.
We've been through the work. We've been through fucking segregationists. They trying to make it seem like Donald Trump's the most racist president they ever. Like Joe Biden said that Donald Trump is the first racist president. He said that. I remember back even with the presidents that black folks liked in the end, like JFK.
Right.
When black folks was calling for JFK to do something, when they was getting their ass kicked
In the
in the
South.
South,
He said his hands.
he didn't do any. Right, his
Right.
hands was tied. He couldn't do nothing. But all of a sudden, when black folks started rioting and tearing shit up, now all of a sudden he could do something. And you saw a little glimpse of that with the Black Lives Matter thing. When people started getting out in the streets and protesting, and people like initially everybody talks about riots, but in that first couple of nights there was people bashing in windows and stuff, and a lot of them were white folks.
Right.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
The majority of them were white folks.
Yeah, white folks who trying to instigate and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that lasted what, 1 or 2 days, and then the rest of it was just protesting.
Right. In fact, hold up. Let me stop you. I will say this: the majority of the protesters were white.
Right. Because the general mood was, oh shit, these motherfuckers is getting ready to go off. Let me show that I'm down and I support them.
Right.
And it was support, just symbolic support. It was nothing substantial. You didn't, because there's nobody in our community that's actually pushing for any policies. So basically, what it was you had the Democratic Party putting on kente cloth and kneeling.
Hold on 1 second. Hey, Deanna Alvarez, tell Ramon to call me. I know Ramon. Deanna Alvarez, tell Ramon if he wants to come on, have him call me. All right, go ahead, hold up.
Who's that?
No, so a friend of mine is actually running for president.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So I was gonna say,
What's his? I want to hear his platform.
Well,
I might vote for him.
I want it because somebody in here put his information in here. So I'm like, have him call me. I know him personally. So if he wants to come on, have him hit me up. Let me read a couple of these super chats. Kali Enigma: Obamacare was created by the Heritage Foundation in the 60s. Nixon tried to pass it in the 70s. Romney passed it in mass, and Obama passed years after. And then there's another super chat. Thank you for super chat, brother. Then there was another super chat. Here we go. Aaron Cole: Trump put in policies to benefit my HBCU.
How so?
I guess he gave the HBCUs permanent funding. Chima, go ahead, brother.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hey, what's up, man?
All right, so like this is
fellow BAIO member, by the way.
Thank you, Holip. It's good to be here. So this is what I've been seeing, right? Everybody's mad at Trump for how he's been handling the coronavirus stuff. I mean, I mean, let's be honest. He's doing a shitty job at it. But let's be honest. The Democrats are not doing a better job at it than he is. Yeah, like be mad at Mitch McConnell all you want, but Nancy Pelosi, like she's the one who messed up the stimulus in the first place. Because that during the time of a pandemic, that's something that's supposed to be indefinite. That's not something that's supposed to be like renewed every month or so.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone has an excuse. But everyone has the excuse like, oh, she didn't know the full scale of it. I mean, like it's a pandemic. It's not supposed to be a guessing game.
Yeah, like I said, it would have been even worse under Joe Biden with the right wing of this country, because it would have been a bigger anti-mask movement and a bigger conspiracy theory, because a Democrat is in charge. I don't see how they would have done anything differently. And try mandating something in America. Have you seen how many Karens they're taking videos of who's losing it?
Yeah, a lot.
Just put their dogs on a leash.
Yeah, losing it. Going into Target and tearing down the mask stands. Oh, this is against freedom and da da da. You think that was going to change under Joe Biden?
Like not to mention going to the beach like without their masks and screaming simply screaming at everybody and throwing shit.
Mouth breathing morons.
Like and the thing is, people were warning Nancy Pelosi about taking greater measures against this pandemic, and she was like, "Calm down, we have everything under control." And look at what's happening now. And all she can say is, and she literally did say this. As for the 20 million who are unemployed and possibly about to be homeless, all she can say is, all we can do is pray for their well-being.
Yeah. Just all you're going to get from the DNC is symbolism and identity politics. You're going to get, let's vote for Joe Biden because he picked a quote unquote black woman. Forget that the black woman could be totally against every goddamn policy that would help your community, but at least she's black.
Right. Are you talking about the same black woman who not only locked up black men for weed, but was literally bragging about locking up black women for their kids not going to school?
That's what I mentioned. Laughing about people being locked up for going to jail for weed. Laughing. And this is a person, like I said, between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they put more black people in jail than anybody. And this is the solution to Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it's not only that. He Donald Trump Donald Trump turned down Medicare for all. Everyone's like, oh, he's a monster. He doesn't know what he's doing. Joe Biden does the same thing. He rejected Medicare for all. Sorry about that. Mm-hmm. And that's for the 2000 month. Trump rejected that same rhetoric. Oh, he's a monster. He doesn't know what he's doing. Joe Biden rejected that same thing just recently.
Yeah. Joe Biden said he is not for defunding the police. Oh, and for all the mouth breathers out there, defunding the police did not mean abolishing the police. Just thought I'd mention that.
Oh yeah, and another excuse that I often hear about Biden is that he was just a man of his time.
Yeah, you're gonna hear all kinds of excuses when it comes to hacks, because they're gonna support everything that they were against because it's their guy.
Right.
Just political hacks.
Now I have a question. Like, what do you see about those who say, "Oh, if you don't get out there and vote, you've lost your right to complain"?
I agree with George Carlin. George Carlin said it's the opposite. Because I didn't vote, I have the right to complain. Because what's going on is because of you. It's your fault. You voted for these people. You put them in office, so you take responsibility for what they're doing. Me, I was sitting in my living room scratching my nuts. I got nothing to do with it.
Right. Like, here's my opinion. If you pay tax, if you live in this land and pay taxes in this land, you have every right to complain, because this is the same government you're paying for.
And can I address this whole Kamala Harris isn't black shit?
Go ahead.
All right.
Let's say that Kamala Harris' mother was from Nigeria and her father was from Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Then would you support her? Like, it's a stupid argument. I don't give a shit about who her parents were. The lady does not support anything that benefits you.
Right.
I'm going by her policy.
Like, most of us should have learned that lesson with Obama, but we didn't.
If she was black, would it make a difference? Why are we even having that argument? We get so distracted by trivial bullshit.
Like the thing is, we enjoy just nothing but symbolism. Like, I don't know if either of you guys watched the DNC, but it was just like, it's just like Andrew Yang said. Like, it was basically like being part of a reality TV show. Like, there were no concrete issues like mentioned at all.
Yeah, like somebody said that the Dems play the ID card. That's what they do. Because that's the thing that they go by. If we can get a person that's a right winger, but as long as they're a black person, hey, I mean, you got to vote for them. They're black.
Right.
That's their mentality. It's like they do this symbolic shit, and black folks get appeased by it, and that's what pisses me off. Like, so your response to police brutality is Aunt Jemima? What the fuck does Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben have to do with police brutality? What does banning a Golden Girls episode because somebody was in blackface? What the fuck does that have to do with police brutality?
Absolutely nothing.
How come there's not one black talking head that's talking about, if we want to talk about police, what about this concept of civil asset forfeiture? Does anybody even know what that means? It's where the cops can literally take your shit. There's literally just like, if they stop you in a car, you got $1,000 in your pocket. I can show you videos where a cop went into this guy's pocket, took $1,500 out of his pocket and put it in his. That's civil asset forfeiture.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Kamala actually openly supported that, didn't she?
Yeah, they said that civil asset forfeiture, cops have taken more than actual robberies have occurred. Is anybody talking about that?
No.
I want to know from anybody out here who's pushing for Joe Biden and saying that we gonna, what did they say, Dinez? We gonna hold him accountable once he gets into office. I asked the same question that I've been asking for years.
And let me add something to that, Holip. You guys know who Steve Mnuchin is, right? The Treasury Secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who's currently pushing back the additional funding for the coronavirus stimulus. There was actually a time when he was about to be indicted for real estate fraud, but Kamala Harris basically is the one who basically threw the case out entirely.
And then it was discovered that the reason why she did that is because he contributed to her campaign.
Of course.
You can't get more corrupt than Kamala Harris. And I don't give a shit whether her parents was from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Mississippi, Mobile, Mississippi. I don't give a shit.
Her parents can be from Estonia for all I care.
We get distracted by bullshit. What is her what type of person is she when she's in office? When she has power, what is she using it for? That's more important to me than her fucking complexion or who her parents were. I don't give a shit. She can be black with black parents, jet black parents, and still be pushing the same policies that Joe Biden pushed and Donald Trump pushed. And I'm supposed to support her just because she's black?
And I can give the biggest shit of whether or not she likes to use hot sauce on her chicken.
Like, let's stop losing focus and getting caught up in a lot of dumb shit, man. It's like, just look at, What's the end game? It's my question. What are you going to hold Biden account to if you have no end game? If you don't have a vision for the future for your people, what policies are you going to push him on? Because you can't push him on Medicare for all. I'm quite sure if we had a single payer healthcare system in America, that would benefit Black folks automatically.
Like every other industrialized country has, right?
Right. That would benefit Black folks automatically. And you can't even get that passed in the midst of a pandemic where people are losing their jobs. Unemployment is like 20%, and you still can't get that passed.
Like we can't even get a federal minimum wage bill passed. It's still at $7.25 an hour on the federal level.
Yeah, you know what? Instead of pushing for universal, like a living wage, they're actually, the Republicans and the Democrats want universal minimum wage. Like their issue, it was so crazy that nobody addressed this. Their big problem was the $600 a week, because they said, well, people are making more money through the unemployment than they're doing at their job.
Right.
Well, duh. How about giving them a living wage? Nobody talked about that. Their issue was, well, no, we need to cut the unemployment.
Yeah, they're worried about people
we
being
need to cut the unemployment to make them just
not
as
to work.
poor
Like, how about you actually pay them so they would actually want to come to work?
Exactly. They're worried about cutting the unemployment and making the people just as poor as they were when they were working. That's their solution. And don't try looking at TV and looking at the news for any type of enlightenment on this shit.
Oh yeah. Here's another one for you.
Hey,
Okay.
One second, guys.
Okay.
Rick, go ahead, Rick. Unmute yourself. Go ahead, Rick.
Can I be heard?
Rick, I hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, guys, I guess so. First off, this is like my first time ever doing something like this. Actually, Dynas, I bumped into your webpage like 3 days ago. I was just searching for some stuff on what's his name, ABL, and I came across your 2018 message you had with him and Brandon Tatum, and you were part of there, and you were kind of questioning their disposition. So
well, see, you know what? And see, I got, you know what? I have to apologize to Brandon Tatum and ABL now, because all of a sudden, since Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are on this Democratic ticket, Black folks are now tougher on crime than Black conservatives like ABL and Brandon Tatum. So I got to apologize to them. Black people are now all of a sudden tougher on crime than ABL and Brandon Tatum.
I don't know if I can agree that we're tougher on crime these days. In what perspective do you see that?
Again, whenever you bring up the crime bill and the role that Joe Biden played in orchestrating that, whenever you call out Kamala Harris on her record, they were just doing their job, and Pookie and Ray Ray deserve to be locked up. Meanwhile, if we rewind just 4 or 5 months ago, the crime bill was the worst thing that ever happened to the Black community. These are coming from the same folks who now support Biden and Kamala Harris.
Correct. That's hypocrisy at its highest, and every side does that. I guess I should let you know I'm an independent. I don't ascribe to any particular side. I think they both have their good and bad, but at this point in time, the way from my perspective, I see Donald Trump as a severe threat, and I guess when I look at his level of corruption, how much lying he does, deceptive thing he does. I mean, and just from a moral and ethical perspective, he's like the most corrupt thing I've ever seen. Like he's like just straight evil. So for me, it's not even a question what I'm going to do on the 20th, because in November, because before him, you had two different levels of bad. Donald Trump, to me, he tips the scale to the level of evil and corruption.
Well, okay, let me ask you, what has Donald Trump done that's been worse than, we'll say, Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? What has he done?
Okay, so let's look like the Russia stuff that went on there, the level of corruption, the 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 stuff that he's doing in terms of with our allies, that's not stable. Um, you look at what he's doing in terms of, I guess a lot of the amoral stuff that he's doing in terms of the taxes and things like that. He seems it may appear that it's going to be beneficial, but then you got to think he released the taxes for the top percentage of people, but
Okay, let me ask you. So how does the taxes part affect you?
not per se. I guess I look at it from the perspective that he positions it as it's helping everyone, but the tax breaks for us ends after 2 years. For the companies, that's forever. So that's my issue on that regards.
Okay. Now, as far as the Russia thing, now what about Joe Biden and in his dealings with Ukraine?
Oh, he's just as guilty. He's just as
Okay.
guilty. Him and his son. I don't like I said. They're both as guilty. But Trump, what he did in terms of coercing that president to step or partake, that was just I think over the board. When you think about a president doing that to another country, I wouldn't expect that from any of our presidents. And here you have this man who's really only about himself, benefiting himself, his family, and things of that nature. I just don't understand how we could sit back
Yeah, okay,
and
okay. Listen, I'm so how has the Obamas? I mean, so this is the talking point. And hold up, you can jump in anytime. So in 2008, I voted for Obama. Right? Everybody voted for Obama. He did nothing for black people. 2012, we're like, look, he's about to do something now. This is his last 4 years. He waited. He had to wait because them folks weren't going to reelect him. The folks were going to be on him. So he had to, we had to wait to 2012. He going to do something now. He did nothing. He gets out of office in 2016. See, he could really do something now. He really going to do something for black folks. The Obamas are in the Hamptons. Is it the Hamptons? Not the Hamptons, but no, I think it's the Hamptons. They done bought a $20 million house.
Mm-hmm.
They chilling.
Yeah.
So again, when you say Trump is only out for himself, what politician is not only out for himself and his interests?
well, you got to understand, Trump is a businessman. He has business endeavors at this point in time.
Okay, let me start right there. Though Barack Obama is on course to be worth more than Donald Trump.
Okay, here's the thing. Barack, if he's going to gain his funds, it's after he's out of office. He wasn't sitting in office, sitting in his seat, banking money, making all his profit behind the scene and acting like he's not doing anything. Donald Trump his family is raking in money, people. His lawyers, everyone. He sits up there and act like he's for the people. But keep in mind, his lawyer, what's his name? The older guy. What's his name?
You do realize I mean, I'm a pass the mic to Holip. You do realize Trump was a billionaire and had businesses before he got into office. So I
billionaire.
mean, he has to operate his industries.
How do you know? How do you know he's a billionaire when he never released his taxes? That's another thing about this dude. He's a fraud. This dude came in his office. He said he's going to release it. Aren't you guys concerned about what's going on in his taxes? Why won't he release them? Do you even remember his lawyer said before he was as he was a candidate, he still had deals in Russia. Honestly, he didn't even expect to win. He didn't wasn't expecting to win be president. That's how we know he didn't be expect run presidency because he had deals in Russia. What kind of fool person has deals in Russia? They know about it, and you run for president and you expect to win presidency, and you got deals going in Russia, and you sitting up there lying to us. So, but back to your question about Obama. Obama, yo, listen, Obama. Well, I see what he doesn't even look back. I look at what goes on in Chicago, and this man just you understand you were president. Now you out of office. Why you and Oprah, y'all not doing something about this mess in Chicago? You sitting up here, you acting like you for the black people or all this stuff, but I see what goes on in Chicago. So I don't give Obama a pass at all. what I do excuse him for, I understand when he did come into office. I understand as the first black president, you can't leave like you're gonna do everything for black people. You have to do everything on the slide. You have to do everything. You can't just lead with pro-black initiatives because that's what they're looking at you to do stuff like that. So he couldn't lead like that. If he was going to do it, he had to do under the cover. And so some of his first initiative that he came in was first tackling the healthcare. So after he did the healthcare and the party situation switched up, he lost a lot of the from not the Senate, but you know what I'm talking about, the other group. He lost a whole lot of people. He got wiped out. He lost a lot of. He can't do that much after he had a split government. So I give him a pass, and from that aspect.
Okay. Hold up. Go ahead, Ron. Hold
up. Let's say that I accept that Trump is everything that you just said that he is. How is getting Joe Biden in office going to affect our lives in any way, shape, or form?
So, for me, I think we as black people, we are looking to politicians for help. These people, I think our success, the way we overcome is we coming together as one group and unifying ourselves. So I don't look to any particular president to do that for us. However, when I look at Donald Trump versus anything else that I've seen, that dude scares me. That
Why? Why does he scare
that?
you?
Because of stuff he does with, oh gosh.
But how is that affecting your life? Like, what is Donald Trump doing is going to affect your life for the next 4 years if he gets in? And keep in mind, I'm not supporting Donald Trump. I'm just asking a question. What's the difference between him and Joe Biden? You vote, so he gets out of office and you vote Joe Biden in. Tell me what happens on that first 100 days.
So I don't. Well, in terms of healthcare, that's something I see as beneficial coming from going with the Democratic
He's
Party.
Against it.
Nah.
He's against it.
He just rejected Medicare for all.
He's not even, let me tell you something. He's not even for a public option. He was saying that in the beginning, but he's already compromised on that. So basically, there's going to be absolutely no change in the healthcare system in the midst of a pandemic.
Well, what is Donald Trump doing? He's trying to, they don't even have a plan, number one.
I agree with you. My question is, what is Biden going to do? Once Trump is out, once the bad guy Trump is out of office, what is the good guy Biden going to do in those first 100 days?
So first of all, he's going to reestablish our connections with our allies, push this Russian thing out the way, begin to, I guess, in terms of the economic, I guess, put us back on track in that regards, because we got to remember, that's another thing about Donald Trump. He makes it seem like he took black unemployment down to its lowest level. But truth be told, when Obama was leaving the office, our unemployment, the black unemployment was already dropping. Remember when he came in office, it was at the height of the recession, 2009. He took black unemployment all the way down to, I think, about 4%. With Donald Trump, he only took it down to 2%. So
wait, can I ask you something? Because you made a statement where you said our allies. Who are you talking about?
Who are our allies exactly?
Canada. Okay, so I'm not.
When you say our, who are you referring to when you say our?
Our allies, the people we're in NATO with.
Who?
Okay, no. The question is, when you say our, like, what do you like? Who is our? Like, our allies? Who is our? Like, what are you referring to?
No, our O-U-R.
That's what I'm saying. When you say
who
our,
is that?
Who are our allies exactly? Name like
Canada.
Not who our allies are. Who are our?
Canada, who are our allies? Who are the black community's allies?
No. I'm not asking who the allies are. I'm asking who, when he says our, who is our? Who's that?
All
NATO.
right.
NATO. All the people in NATO.
So when you say our, NATO's allies?
Okay, so I'm not good on foreign policy, but I know NATO. NATO, whoever that entails, Canada,
No. You're listing the allies. That's not what I'm talking about. Whose allies are Canada, and who is their ally that you're referring to? Because last time I checked, black folks don't have no government. So who are we
Okay.
talking about? You're talking about the United States allies?
Yes. Yes.
What does that have to do with us?
Okay. We were talking about us as in terms of the United States. So that's the
Okay,
perspective.
but that's the thing. See, this is the difference. When I talk about us, I'm not talking about the United States.
We're
I'm
Okay.
talking about black people,
Okay.
the black folks that live here in America. So when I ask the question,
Uh-huh.
how are we going to benefit from a Biden administration the first 100 days? What policies are we going to push that's going to help us that we were so, now that the bad guy Trump, who we're so terrified of, is out of office, what's going to happen after he's out of office? That's all I'm asking.
So we're back to normalcy.
Which is us getting our ass kicked?
Okay,
Like-
and that's what I go back to. I think we're looking to these politicians to save us, when saving us really comes from us as a people. There's a saying, poor is a man's whose pleasure lies in the other man's decision, or something like that.
But here's
you're
the
saying
thing,
two
right?
things. You're saying two things at the same time.
Yeah, like here's
Okay.
the thing, right? These guys are public servants. They're supposed to work. They're supposed to work for the people. They're supposed to take care of the people.
Understood. Understood. So I don't see any of them as a particular ally to the black people. I don't look for them in that regards. I would actually, I'd be proponent of a third party, if you ask me. Let's get those.
But
two
fam, you're
Go ahead.
saying two things at the same time. You're saying that it doesn't matter who the president is, but let's vote for Biden.
Yes, because I view Trump.
Well, then it matters. You can't say both. You can't say it doesn't matter who the president is, but let's vote for Joe Biden. If it doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter. What we have to do, we can still do no matter who the president is. That's why I don't see this fear with Donald Trump. Because none of the things that they hate him for affects me or my community directly. It just doesn't.
I see what you're saying.
Like I always ask this question, like, in what way can Donald Trump actually hurt the black community? Like, let me find out a good way to, like, how can he hurt the black community that any other president before him hasn't already done? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you could kind of look what he did with the NFL players, and then
the NFL players.
Yeah, he kind of came at them and tried to
Trump is bad. I mean, I'm not even going to fight that. Trump is bad. The worst thing that Trump did was kill that Iranian general. If people want to ask was really the most dumb thing, a stupid thing that he did, that's that one right there. Because I feel we really don't know the repercussions of that yet. And Iran is being quiet about it, which should scare you more than Trump.
I do. I definitely.
So I'm not going to argue about whether Trump is good or bad. He's horrible. My question is, so that means I'm picking Goldie? He's pretty Tony, so I'm going to go to Goldie because Goldie going to treat me better?
I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I guess in terms of the level of corruption I see from him, and I'm a person, I'm moved by character, so that's another reason why I find him totally repulsive. I mean, in terms of just being a pathological liar and just being dishonest.
Every politician is a pathological liar,
No.
Joe Biden is the worst liar.
We have to be honest with ourselves. Donald Trump is like next level. He's like next level, new level.
Not to me.
This dude is so much of a liar.
I mean, the guy is just loud. That's it. I mean, all politicians are liars. The man's just loud. That's all.
No, this is a different level of lying. When you got a pencil like that matter that what happened about the storm, and he made an honest mistake about. I think he was talking about Texas, and and the weather condition has changed, and they like got him because the media is all about getting him. This dude, so petty, so prideful. He's gonna draw in a marker around, redraw the graph so he looks right. I mean, who does that?
Brother, you've won the argument. No one is going to deny that Trump is bad. That's not what the issue is.
Okay, my thing is he's next level bad. He's like the worst. He's just he's just
okay. I'll even accept that he's next level bad. He's out of office. Joe Biden is in office. What happens on those first 100 days? What policies get pushed that benefit the Black community by Joe Biden? Pan-Africanism. Could you please stop, man? Please.
For me?
No, not you. Pan-African strikes back on some old Trump didn't lie. Trump lies every goddamn day. Why is it that all right, you don't like Joe Biden, I don't like Joe Biden. Does that automatically make Trump a good guy?
No.
Like, that's what I'm saying. On both sides, it's like people are trying to pick which pimp to go for. What's up, Lucy?
Hey, Lucy, what's up?
Did somebody on the chat really say Trump isn't racist?
Probably.
Well, to me, he's a racist.
No, he said he didn't lie. So come on, man. It's like Trump is bad. I'm not even going to fight you on that. Yeah, he's bad. Even if you want to say he's worse than everybody else, I'll accept that. My question, which I've yet to get answered, when Joe Biden gets into office, how is the Black community going to benefit from his presidency? What policies are being pushed and who's pushing them? Because I don't even see Black leadership.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's remove Donald Trump aside. Let's put Mark or Rubio or some other candidate on the side. Who do you see the Republican Party doing something for you?
No, we don't.
You've won that argument. This is not even a fight. You've won.
Okay.
You said that they're worse. I agree with you. My question is, what is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris going to do?
In terms of the Democrats, only thing I can see good coming from them is we're probably going to get health care back on track.
You're not going to get health care back on track because Joe Biden is not even doing a public option. Before he said we're going to improve on Obamacare and we're going to have a public option. Now he's already compromised on that.
Okay, so he's going to improve on what Obama already had, right? No public option, just improve on what
if he doesn't have a public option, he can't improve on it. And if you notice, it's all vagary. Because if you say, I'm going to improve on Obamacare, well, then give me a policy that's an improvement. What's the improvement that you're going to do?
Okay, so when I look at you, when I see you question it, the Republicans aren't doing anything better.
Oh, God, we're going back. Why are we going back to the Republicans when we already said the Republicans are worse?
All right, let's real quick. Brandon, go ahead, brother. Hey, Rick, man. One second. Well, Rick, question. So one more time, and then I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
First 100 days. What are the Democrats gonna do? Bam. Go ahead. You have 60 seconds. Go ahead.
It's irrelevant to me what the Democrats are going to do at this point in time because I don't like Trump. I don't want him in there.
There you go. At least he's honest.
At least he's honest. Okay. All right, Rick. We appreciate you, bro. All right, go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, so basically what we have here is just a bunch of emotion without any real thought.
You are so full of shit right now. I'm going to let you go ahead. Go ahead. Talk. You know you bullshitting right now.
Are we done?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. Now, what we have here is a bunch of emotion, right? So what we're doing is I don't like Trump. And like the brother just said, I don't care what they do. I just don't like Trump, right? Ironically, the Jews, Trump is a racist, as are all politicians, in my opinion, all white people. The Jews somehow went and worked with Trump to get Jerusalem named as their capital city. Other races are progressing, even with Trump in office. But what we've done is we've been used as the attack dog that the white people have programmed us to be, to go and attack Trump. When it comes to Trump, Trump is the only president who's actually willing to even consider what black people have to say. when you look at the different things he's done, like the First Step Act, when he goes and lets people who just got released out of prison on ridiculous sentences and ridiculous charges come to the White House, sit at the table, be a part of the legislation to begin the process of prison reform, you can see quickly that he's actually trying to get things done. Now, what are Trump's motives? They may be totally selfish, just getting reelected. But isn't that the motives of every president? Barack gave to the LGBTQ community to help him get reelected. He didn't go against the police departments of America who were brutalizing black people so that he can get elected and gain the support of the police unions. Why do we keep on looking for a savior? That's where all the negativity comes from, because we keep looking for a savior as opposed to looking for someone who we can work with to get some of the things that we want. Even the Prison Reform Act is called First Step. It ain't saying he's going to carry you the whole way, but he's willing to take a step towards what you say you want. Now, when you give me Biden or Kamala Harris's plan for prison reform, which they don't have one because they're working to get black people put in prison, then you can say Trump's bad, Trump's bad, Trump's bad. But you're not going to be able to swindle our people by using your emotional appeal to demonize one racist, but then sit up and advocate for another racist. Just like I said on my own channel, every other race is like, yo, who's giving out the butter biscuits? Because we got to eat and we hungry. Black people are like, no, reject the butter biscuits. Go with the guy who ain't giving you nothing, even though he feels the same way. He's a plantation owner too. But you're not going to go to the plantation that's giving the butter biscuits. It don't make sense. If you truly thought about building in Africa, which I don't think any person on this panel does, you would be looking at the person who allows you to accumulate the resources necessary so that you can have money and economic mobility to go execute your goals and missions in Africa. That is Donald Trump, overwhelmingly. The guy goes after China. I'm going to do a show today on my channel, The Enemy of My Enemy, how Trump's war in China against China can be a major win for black people. Stop looking at Trump. Look at what he's doing and how it allows you to do what you're trying to do. See, that's all I look at. Damn Trump. Who's doing what? Whose policies allow me to execute what I'm trying to do better?
Can I ask you a question?
Anytime.
And the thing that makes this so irritating to me, you're playing this 3D chess match with who exactly? Who when you say we got to work with, who's the we that we're talking about? Because I don't see it. I don't see us organized on any level. So when we have somebody out talking to Trump representing us, who is this person that's doing this?
You don't need anybody to represent you to Trump. What I
This
know
is
is black
politics. You need somebody to represent you. So I'm asking the question, when they sit down and they talk policy with Trump to benefit the black community, who's the person that's having this conversation? Because and let me add another caveat. I agree with just about 90% of everything that you just said. Because your issue is more with the guy that was just on the phone than it is with us. I'm not pushing for Joe Biden presidency. I'm not pushing that black folks need to go to the Democratic Party as they're some fucking saviors and Trump is the devil incarnate. I'm not pushing that narrative.
Let me answer that question for you, Holip. We have Kanye West as a representative to Trump.
Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Chima. Then I'll bring it back to you, Brandon. Go ahead, Chima.
Yeah, to answer Holip's question, we have Kanye West as representatives to Trump. That's what we got.
No, go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, let me ask all you men. There's black men on this panel. So we're all men, right? And just answer this, just one word answer. Did black people for the past 8 years say that they wanted prison reform?
Yes. But now they've walked.
Did you miss the first part of this live stream?
Wait, Dynas. Black people said they wanted prison reform, right?
Right.
Yes, everyone agrees to that. You guys ain't gonna say it, but yes, you guys agree. Has Trump passed legislation by working with Kanye West and his wife that is directly addressing the issue of prison reform?
He has, but because it's coming from Trump, it doesn't count per the black collective.
Okay, so that's one thing black people wanted. They said, we want a butter biscuit, we want prison reform. Trump Kanye West went and represented us because the guy who you guys support, not you, Holip, but the guys who the other guy supports wouldn't even talk to Trump, right? Communication is the key, right? That's why I know people, that's why I know most black married people support Trump, because when you understand you got to communicate no matter how you feel at the time, you understand how to make something successful. You wanted prison reform. Trump gave you prison reform. Obama didn't give it to you. Kamala Harris is not even talking about it. And Joe Biden definitely ain't going to give it to you. He's actually the person whose prison policies you're reforming, right? He gave you one thing you wanted. We've been talking about the black unemployment rate in America for the past 60 years. Did Trump, yes or no answer, guys, did Trump, under his presidency, did the black unemployment rate go down to the lowest it's ever been?
I don't know.
Yes or no?
I don't know.
Somebody
I say that because right now the unemployment rate is like 20
We're not
something
talking
percent.
about it right now. We understand
So we're
that
just
there are
going to
different
dismiss
factors.
that?
Listen, no, we're not, Holip. What I'm saying is when there was not a pandemic, right? Black unemployment for the other 3 years. We know black people love to focus on one little aspect of something. We're talking about for the past 3 years. Were we or were we not making money? Money which empowered us to go build in Africa. Money which empowered me to go build in Africa and start 2 new businesses in Africa. Yes, we were. Was that the case under Obama?
Who are you talking about?
What?
I'm talking about
who are you talking about that made money under Trump? Who?
I'm talking to the people who actually have goals and are willing to work towards them. They're like Chris Rock said, there's 2 types of black
Republicans?
people. There's 2 types of black people. Black people and NIGGAs, okay? NIGGAs is waiting for somebody to hand them something. Black people gonna work no matter who's president or what. Me, Trump was president, I did good because I kept working. That's opposed to the other black people who use Trump's presidency as an excuse to continue playing the victim. So
Wait,
I was
what?
starting businesses.
This sounds like some straight up Republican talking points right now.
It doesn't matter what it sounds like. You tell me that I'm lying. Where am I lying? I haven't told one lie.
Did Trump end the drug war? We talking about political reform, right? If Trump is so concerned about the well-being of black folks, did he eliminate the drug war? Is marijuana legal?
Is marijuana is still federally illegal?
Tell me when I start lying.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'm asking you. If he forget this fucking prison reform bullshit. If you want to stop the drugs,
that's bullshit.
You want to stop this whole thing with our people being locked up in the fucking
let me ask you something. You said you were talking about the unemployment rate, right? Like, let me ask you something. Is Trump talking about even? Well, forget about bringing up a living wage bill. Is he even talking about just increasing the minimum wage?
Okay, so let me tell you this. Minimum wage is a state issue, and this shows me how abreast you are of politics. Minimum wage is a state issue. Minimum wage is determined by governors in states, right? So it's not like federal, they raise the minimum wage, but then as you can see, like in LA, you're making way more than you're making in like Mississippi. The states, the counties determine that minimum wage, right? What I'm talking about, you guys are talking about horizontal issues that won't be solved within the next 10 years.
Can I address what you just said?
Yes, sir.
Is there a federal minimum wage?
Yes, there is.
Is that minimum wage going to be raised by Trump?
No, it's not going to be because it goes against.
So then who's deflecting?
No, I'm not. I'm addressing it right now.
We already know about the states. I'm talking about the federal minimum wage. Is that going to be raised from 7? Because these people are complaining that they were giving out $600.
Okay, but what I'm telling you, Holip, is this. If you are a business owner, I don't know if you are. I am. I have a business and I have employees. When they raise the minimum wage, that hurts the employee, because then it puts an unnecessary burden on the business owner, and then it causes us to fire people.
So, no, it doesn't, man. That money, the extra money that the employees get goes back into the economy.
I pay my workers a fucking living wage.
Okay, you pay, as do I.
The reason why anybody trying to say that by giving your people a living wage that's hurting you as a business is because you're into labor exploitation.
No, I'm not.
Which is the reason why you can have a guy making damn near $1 trillion and he can't pay his people a living wage.
Okay, so what I'm so if I could talk for a second, just despite the emotional appeal, what I'm saying is this: minimum
don't
wage.
trivialize my shit by saying it's
Listen,
emotional, because you haven't given me a counter to anything that I've said.
Listen, you haven't said nothing. A minimum wage is the minimum that you can pay somebody. That doesn't mean that that's what you give people. That's a minimum. That's the base. Now, if someone comes and works for the base, that's on them. But I've never offered an employee the base. I pay them well over minimum wage.
Oh,
but
so do we have to rely on your good faith?
What are you talking about? That's literally capitalism. That's literally capitalism.
And that's the problem.
Okay. Well, if that you can argue that either way. Let's get back to the point. Black people say they want certain things. Trump's giving them those things. But because it's coming from Trump, it's no good. We're sitting up rejecting the things we want. And we're not doing it because Trump has done anything to us, because we all can sit up here and tell you Trump ain't done nothing directly to black folks. We're doing it because our white masters are telling us, hate this guy. Literally, that's the only reason. And when you're doing that, you're making a huge mistake. It's just like the Turkish proverb says. The trees continue to vote for the axe because the axe has a wooden handle. That's what we're doing. Oh, we got this in common with this person. Obama, he worked with Obama, so he must be good. This guy, Obama doesn't like this guy, so he must be bad. Stop looking at the people. Start looking at the policies. You can't see anything.
What is different than what I've been saying? Because I think you're painting a picture as if somebody is pro Joe Biden and Democratic Party. Nobody on this phone, other than the guy who just got off, is pushing that.
But what I'm acting like is people are pro victimization, victim mindset. When you're building in Africa the way
from?
I'm telling you, when you're building in Africa like me and my brothers and all the people who I work with, you just want to get your money so you can keep doing what you're doing in Africa and making progress. People who aren't building in Africa at all, people who are waiting on other people before they do what they got to do, they can sit up and argue trivial issues. Trump got the money coming in. He's pushing back on China, which is creating more opportunities for workers in America, which when you say workers in America, that means black people as well. They have more
Trump
money.
Is not outsourcing?
Of course, Trump outsources, but when he's going against China, the number one thief of American jobs, that's helping you. When Trump's bringing back manufacturing to America,
how is that helping me? Trump is bringing back manufacturing to America. How?
What are you? Oh my God! Look, see, I can't sit up here and argue the whole policies with you because we don't have time for that. But you're not doing your research. You're not doing your research. You going?
I know that Trump has outsourced more than Obama. I know that. Is that a lie?
There's no way, because Obama approved of NAFTA.
Well, now
and
who's
Trump
not doing their
NAFTA.
research? Because that's a damn truth.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Trump hasn't outsourced more than Obama.
Man, tell us how. Trump owns all the businesses. Trump owns all the businesses. What are you talking about? A business
outsourcing.
A business owner outsources. Trump don't own all the businesses in America, so you can't blame Trump.
Outsourcing under Trump versus outsourcing. How come it counts when it comes to Obama, but it doesn't count when it comes to Trump?
It counts when it doesn't count when it comes to Trump, because Trump is actually passing legislation.
So it counts when it comes to Obama?
Yeah, Obama didn't pass no legislation to counteract outsourcing.
What was outsourcing under Obama versus outsourcing under Trump?
It doesn't matter what it was, because as long as Trump is passing laws that go against outsourcing, that's what matters. If those people,
oh God, all right,
it has the same result, bro. Like outsourcing equals loss of jobs. Like a loss of job under Obama is a loss of jobs under Trump, bro.
I don't even know why we're having this
man,
conversation.
I do because listen, Holip, you got the cool demeanor.
So you're supporting black folks vote for Trump as if that's going to be any different than they vote for Joe Biden.
I will support Trump before I support victim attitude. A constantly, like, there's a wise man who's wiser than you or me. He said, stay away from negative people, because they have a problem for every solution. I'm about solutions. I'm building in Africa. You got the Pan-Africanist stuff on your thing, but are you really that? Because what are you building? See, that's my question to everyone. If you got an opinion, Show me what your opinion is motivating you to do. And if your opinion is not motivating you to build in Africa, the place where we say we love, right? Me and you and all of us, then your opinion doesn't count. Everybody got opinions, but what's the results? Everyone has reasons, but the only thing that matters is results. And based on what I believe, I'm putting in work. Based on what you believe, you're complaining. That's the difference. That's it.
Okay.
So, exactly. I mean, we can really talk about it, because when I came to you like, yo, we got this thing going on to build in Africa.
All right, now I get it. Go ahead.
No,
I get it now.
Listen, yeah, because we're gonna be transparent right here. We're gonna be transparent.
This was so predictable too.
No, and it's okay, because you know why? Because I want the people to know who you really are versus who you claim to be. When I brought the ideas to you,
now everything is coming clear.
Hold on. When I brought the ideas to you that 70 other people took hold of and are making progress, you said, yo, bro, I can't give you $25 a month because my financial advisor said. So you're not for real. And so don't
I'm not
talk
for real because I'm not giving you money.
Hey, hey, yo, Brandon, hold on.
That is so priceless. That is so priceless.
That's between you and
Trump. Listen, that's between us. Stop criticizing
I'm not
Trump
for real because I'm not giving you money with no fucking accountability, no liability, no nothing. I got to give you money just because you black.
You're not for real because Trump's a hard worker and you're not. He's serious and you're not.
I so thank you for this
conversation.
You're
supposed to understand him. So you're not supposed to understand him.
I so thank you for this conversation.
Listen, hard workers understand hard workers. Complainers sympathize with other complainers.
Right.
I'm a hard worker. So I want Trump, the hard worker, in office because he's going to support the hard workers. Yeah. And every black person watching this who's a hard worker agrees with me.
Drop the link to your fund so they can contribute to it. Drop that.
No, I don't want to do that. I got my own way of getting that out there. But let me tell you,
because that's what this is all about.
No, there's some of us who gonna work and there's some of us who gonna complain, and the results are gonna be the results. So if we line up our spreadsheets on what we've done in Africa and what's being done, what's yours going to say versus what mine's going to say. And that's who you should listen to if you love Africa and are Pan-Africanists.
All right, one second.
Drop the link, son.
Ronin Black, go ahead. Ronin Black.
Drop the link. Get that
Ronin
money.
Ronin Black. Okay, I guess he just checked out. All right, yeah, I don't know how Ronin Black even got in. I don't know if I sent him the link. That's weird. But go ahead.
I sent him the link.
Oh, you did? Okay, he wasn't saying
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, he wasn't saying nothing.
I think he's on the road, so he might be like getting cut out.
Okay.
Man, somebody said Trump is lazy. Trump is 70-some years old.
All right, go ahead, Ronin.
Yo, can you hear me?
Nah, you're real low. We can barely hear you. Ronin. Yeah, it ain't working. All right, go ahead.
He's not in?
Yeah, it's just not the transmission. He's not.
Dennis, we have to stop spreading this negative mindset onto our people, man. We live in a negative society, and there are some people who have not mastered the ability to transcend the negative mindset. And that's what you get with these people on these panels. It's just constant negativity. Give our people a positive. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to encourage them so that we can do something. We can't get nowhere constantly complaining about problems. We can't do anything doing that. That's useless to us. If Holip, I have nothing against you. Tell our people something positive. What can they do right now to fix this situation?
I've already told you what they need to do to fix the situation. We have to get organized. You and your little, whatever amount of people that you have in Africa, we have the same group of people inside the BAIO doing the same thing that you're doing. That does not equate to nationhood.
Okay.
And we can have that conversation. I would be willing to come on your show and we can have that conversation. But what you're doing is disingenuous because you get around me and you say one thing, then you come on here and you say something else.
No, I haven't talked to you since. But the thing is, it's not our personal.
And I've seen you on other shows. I've seen you on other programs and stuff like that. So you get around me and you say one thing, and it's brother this, and then you come around and then you talk shit about me on the other hand.
No, we're no longer ideological brothers because you don't agree
with
what
happened. When did that happen? Just now? We ain't been ideological brothers since you came into the cipher.
I'm only brothers with people who do work, and I thought that was you.
So you was faking being a brother when you came into the cipher. Now you're not one now.
Was not faking. I'm keeping it real with you. That's why I'm telling you exactly how I feel.
Well, you keeping it real with me now? What at 8/20/2020 at 4:47 p.m. Because you wasn't talking that same shit when you was with the BAIO on conference calls and whatever. You wasn't saying any of that shit.
When I thought it was progressive, I was in there, and then when it wasn't, I stopped being a part of it.
And when was that? When did that happen?
Soon as the ideas got shot down for more complaining, because you still have not encouraged our people to do anything. Organize is a general term, bro. That ain't giving people no direction on nothing. We need to organize. You got to make a plan that people can get a part of and be a part of it no matter what. That's what nationhood is.
What's your plan? What's your plan to establish a nation? I'm not talking about repatriating with about 10 people. What's your plan?
Listen, I'm not going to shamelessly promote my thing, but let me tell you something.
Okay.
We live in the United States. Everybody in the United States ain't on Capitol Hill in Washington. There are some people who want to go to the laundromat, work at the chicken shack. But what a nation does is a nation gives everyone who joins it, no matter what they want to do, an opportunity to be a part of that nation and to contribute to it. That is what my plan does.
We're doing it right now.
Okay. Well, what I'm doing is
we're doing that right now.
Guys, 1 second. Let's get back on topic. Like we could do let's just get back on topic, man.
Motivate. Not try to just bring.
And it's so funny. It's so funny. It's like everybody always thinks that they're doing something more than what the next person is doing. It's so funny.
Well, all I know is that Trump.
And I know where this is all coming from. It's coming from something that has to do with me not supporting you because you're black.
Listen,
that's just an automatic. Like somebody comes to me and says, "Yo, give to this because I'm black," and I go, "Well, damn, son, I need something else besides that."
Okay,
now you offended by that.
Okay, Donald Trump is opening up the bag, bro. He's letting money come out even during the downturn, the economic downturn. There's a lot of people who wouldn't have any money if it wasn't for Donald Trump, right? He's distributing, right? And everybody got that money and went out and did something with it. Joe Biden and those people. I'm talking about the 1,200, the 600. For me, it was more than that because I'm a child.
I agree with you. Why do you think that I'm pro Biden?
I don't think you're pro Biden. I think you're pro complaining. That's what I think. I'm pro solution.
How am I pro complaining?
I'm not trying to come on, man.
I'm on this show talking about a subject matter. I haven't even brought the BAIO up.
Don't bring it up.
We're talking about a specific thing.
If you brought the BAIO,
disingenuous right now.
I'm not. I'm tired of black.
You want to have that conversation? Put me on your show and we can have it.
Brandon, let's do this. We'll do a separate show. Are you tired of the victim mentality of black people? We can do a separate show on that. But right now, let's stick on.
You're bringing up all this other stuff. Like, oh, you ain't talking about the solutions. We ain't talking about the solutions right now because we're talking about what's going on. The title of the show is, are you fighting white supremacy by voting for Joe Biden? I haven't even brought up the BAIO.
This is the reality. Fighting white supremacy is not really the task at hand for black people. We keep on thinking we got to battle white supremacy. White supremacy is white supremacy. If there's one white person on the planet that thinks that he's better than somebody based on being white, that means white supremacy still exists. What you have to do, just like you got on me last night, the other day, Dynas, when you text me, our issue is the symptoms of white supremacy. And I said the same thing.
Hold on now. Okay, Brandon. Now, Brandon, I got to call you out on this now.
Call me out.
When I heard you on that platform, somebody else, were you just trolling? You were trolling, Brandon.
No, listen, let me tell you what happened.
You were trolling.
I said I supported Joe Biden so that I could get on the show and deliver my message because he wasn't taking anybody who didn't support Joe Biden. So I lied to get in there and drop some very crucial information to our people. White supremacy is like Corona. Corona's.
Bro, I got a challenge on it. What did you drop? Because I didn't. They were all Joe Biden pro Joe Biden, Kamala Harris talking points that you dropped.
That actually is not true if you go listen to it. But what I said was I support Joe Biden because Joe Biden is going to be the worst president in the history of presidents for black people, and it's going to take for black people.
You did say that. Okay. You said that.
Okay. So you take that back. You take that back.
I'll take that back. Go ahead. But you were kind of. Let me. I gotta let me say this. I have to listen to it again.
Yes, because if you guys listen to me, what I was saying was black people might need Joe Biden to get elected so he can do what he does, so they can get oppressed even harder, so they can finally understand that sitting up voting for somebody based on them being associated to a black person is not the way to go, right? You might need that because our people don't get it based on people being nice to them. Our people got to feel the sting of the whip before they say, damn, we might need to run on out to freedom. So in that instance, I do kind of hope Biden gets elected because I know it's going to get so bad that black people are going to have no choice but to stick together. But if we can prevent that from happening by just getting to work, right? If you don't vote, if you don't want to vote for Trump, just don't vote. Just get to work. Look, I was telling somebody, it's not about making history.
I'm really struggling to try to understand how what you're saying is any different than what I'm saying.
Listen,
because I actually agree with you on that. I think that it's going to be worse under Biden than it would be under Trump.
Okay, I'm gonna stay on topic because I always got something to come back with, but I'm gonna just stay on topic. But the thing is this: black people are more concerned about making history than making progress. Dinus, we want Kamala in there to make history. There's never been an Asian president. There's never been an Indian president. There's never been a Mexican president or vice president. But all those groups.
Oh shit.
Wait.
Lou, hold on, Lou Major, you kind of Lou.
Let him in. Let him in. That's my brother right there. Hey, look, but all those races are outpacing us, even though they're not making quote unquote history. Why are we obsessed with making history, which we are making history? We're making the white man's story, his story, much better by continuing to vote against ourselves. Stop worrying about making history. Start focusing on making progress. That's what we need to do.
I agree 100%.
He agrees with you, Brad. He agrees with
you. That's okay. Now they agree with me on the work part.
This is not the problem. The problem isn't our disagreement. The problem is I ain't give him no money.
All right,
let's give me money.
Let's not talk about the money and the let's.
Dinus, listen.
Go ahead.
I asked you to be a part of the same thing, brother.
Okay, but I don't want to. Let's not talk. Let's stay on topic.
That's what it's all about, Dinus. Okay, that's what this whole conversation is about.
Let's stay on topic. Let's stay on, please.
Dinus. As long as you're doing work, you're gonna be my brother. I know you're doing work, brother. I know you are. So we good. You don't got to do. No one has to do what I'm doing. Just do something. I don't care if these people are a part of what I'm doing. Just do something other than complain. And I said
I agree 1,000%.
Just do something.
I agree 1,000%. Just do something.
Just do something. And what we got is a bunch of people who ain't doing nothing but complain. Not saying
exactly.
So we need to get some positivity, not all this complaining and negativity. And we need to start motivating our people towards doing something. Right. Period.
I agree.
So if you're going to use Trump as the motivation to motivate people, Biden, I don't care who you vote for, as long as you're using that to motivate yourself and somebody else towards work. I'm not about money. I'm about work. Right. I know money is the residual of work. Right. I know that.
I agree.
So that's it.
People need to do more organizing and more tangible things and less complaining. I agree 1,000%.
And now give them a plan where they can do that. That's all I did. I gave them a plan where they can go to work every day. Hey, there's people who don't have the time. There's people who don't have the resources. So I made a plan where I said, it don't matter if you don't got the time. All you got to do is do this, and you're going to be a part of building, and you're going to get a reward at the end of it. That's what I did.
Brandon, let's not, like, as far as like investments and stuff, that's like just.
I'm not trying to invest. I'm not telling him nothing, Doctor. I'm just saying.
Of course he's not, Dynast. He's not trying to do that. Come on. Be fair to him.
Lou
Be
Major,
fair to him.
Go ahead, Lou Major.
First things first, man. How's everybody doing today?
Peace.
Oh,
Peace, fam.
Fine, bro.
So, Prince, Dynast, do you want to go ahead and do your disclaimer? I'll go ahead and wait.
The thoughts and opinions of Lou Major, what they are not that of Dynasty Mirror Search for Hulu. All right, go ahead.
Okay. With that being said, I think if you want to know my honest to God opinion, I think that Black people should actually overwhelmingly, and specifically Black men, should overwhelmingly vote for Donald Trump. And I'm going to explain why. I don't think we should vote for Donald Trump because he's going to do a goddamn thing for Black people. As a matter of fact, I am 100% certain that he is not going to do anything for Black people. But voting for Donald Trump will send a message to the Democratic Party and really to everybody else that you're not going to go ahead and disrespect us and then we turn around and still vote for you. If Black people overwhelmingly vote for Biden, it is going to send an unequivocal message to the Democratic Party that they never, ever, ever, ever have to do anything for you. Not only do they never have to do anything for you, they could disrespect you and bully you to get your vote. That is, you cannot allow that message to be sent. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it's actually very ironic because I've been on your show twice on this particular issue. We're having this discussion about Biden. But if I recall, a few months ago, I remember getting on your show and I said, why are Black people voting for Joe Biden in the primary? The reality is, Joe Biden is Black people's choice. You picked him. So at some point, we got to start being honest. Like, we're having this debate right now about, oh my God, Joe Biden, he's not offering Black people nothing. He didn't offer you dumb niggas nothing when he was running in the primary and you dumb niggas voted for him. Exactly. So like at the end of the day, you can't really say anything now. You had a guy who now Holip, I gotta get at you, man, because you said I don't want to hear nothing from Bernie Sanders. He bent the knee to the party. He did. You're absolutely right. But before he bent the knee to the party, he got rejected by Black people, the key Democrats, the key group he needed, not once, but twice. At that point, what you have just told Bernie Sanders is you don't care about these issues enough to vote for.
I agree.
So if you don't care about the issues, the message you just sent is that he doesn't have the backing of the people. Or at least he doesn't have enough backing of the people for you guys to take the simple step of voting for your own interest. So you can't get mad at him and AOC for saying, well, if they're not going to do this, then he's going to take the position of the best bet I've got is to get rid of Trump is going to be this guy. Because at the end of the day, I came with ideas. I came with solutions. I came with those things, and Black people said no twice. Not once, but twice. So at the end of the day, the only thing left for Black people to do, let's say Black people have figured it out, which frankly I doubt, but let's just say we have. Then the only thing we can do is say this to the Democratic Party. You need us. We don't need you. We've been under oppression for 400 years. Another 4, 5, 10 years of oppression isn't going to make a goddamn difference to us anyway. You either pay up or we let this whole thing fucking burn.
Right.
And I will vote for Donald Trump because he will make this burn. At this point, you got to go nuclear kamikaze because we really have nothing to lose. If America goes belly up tomorrow, the American economy collapses. America ceases to be the most powerful and richest nation in the world. Holip, how does that affect the lives of Black people in America? How does it change our lives?
it's really going to affect us negatively if organization.
No, Holip, the reality is, no, it won't. Because what you don't realize about America is, if you actually look at it in every single metric, relevant metric, there are two countries within one country. You have one first world country, which is where most wealthy people live, or upper to middle class, upper income people live. And then you have the other 80% of the population, which is mixed race. They live effectively in a third world nation. Inadequate health care. In places like Flint, Michigan, you don't even have potable water. Inadequate educational systems.
Right.
Black people in America don't live in a first world country. They live in a third world country. You know how I know that? Because I've lived in third world countries. And I could tell you that it's not that big of a difference. Now, of course, you go to places like Africa, there is some what would be called a next level of poverty called extreme poverty. But for the most part, the living conditions of blacks in America is not that far removed from the living conditions of most people in third world nations. Black people think that they live better because they're told that, and most of them are too ignorant and don't have passports to know the difference. But the reality is, you live like peasants. So if America fell off, your life wouldn't change at all. Your life would not change at all. So at the end of the day,
it'll be less comfortable.
So then why vote at all?
Here's what I would say.
My position is not voting for any particular party.
Let me answer it. You vote because actually the irony about black people is, as despite our condition, we have a tremendous amount of power. We just don't know we have the power and we don't show it. The only way to have power is to show power. So what black people need to do is show power. Black people need to say, hey, you know what? If you're gonna treat me like this, if you're not gonna give me anything, then I'll let the sucker burn. Cause my life ain't gonna change if it. Y'all are scared of Donald Trump. Go ahead, brother.
And I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. I agree with everything. What I'm saying is why wouldn't not supporting the Democrats, since that's what they expect you to do anyway, be a form of power?
That's what I just said.
Okay, so then we're not saying anything any different as far as I'm concerned.
The reality is we have to understand and examine how we got here. And the way that we got here was, now here's the thing, here's where I think we have a slight difference. You're saying don't support the Democratic Party or the Republican Party.
Right.
I'm saying you support the party that's going to send the strongest message. What do these white folks fear right now? These middle-class white folks that don't give a fuck about you. They're afraid of Donald Trump.
Yep.
So if that's what you're afraid of, then that's what I'm going to. The same way you want to fearmonger me to do what you want, then I'm going to fearmonger you to do what I want. And what black people need to say is, you don't give us Medicare for all. You don't cancel student loan debt. You don't go ahead and do you don't do some criminal justice reform. You don't do some real police reform. We're voting Trump and we'll let it burn.
Can I ask a question, Dynas? Dynas, can I ask a question?
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you brothers one simple question, and I'm using an analogy. Say you got two plantations, right?
Right.
And there's slaves who want to run away from the plantation on both plantations. Which group of slaves do you think gonna get the furthest? Say one plantation, every Sunday they hand out butter biscuits, right? But the other plantation don't hand out nothing. They tell the slaves, look, you're gonna just have to eat on whatever you can find. Which group of slaves do you think gonna be able to get further? Those slaves that's starving, or the ones that are at least getting the butter biscuits?
The starving ones.
Who's gonna get further, Lou? Who's gonna get further? Like your physical body, is it gonna run further on no food or on some type of food?
No, Brandon. Here's
Lord have mercy.
I know what you were asking, Brandon. Listen to the reasoning for my answer, Brandon. Let me give you the reasoning behind my answer.
Don't make it overcomplicated, Lou. Simple, bro. Make it simple.
I'm actually answering your question. You gotta let me do it, Brandon. The group that is starving, because the group that's getting the butter biscuits every single week, they are actually less motivated to go ahead and get further than the group that's starving. I'm gonna tell you something. If I'm starving I ain't got nothing to lose, bro.
Thank you.
Right.
I'm gonna say, fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. You can either kill me, I'm gonna die anyway. Let's go.
Okay.
So now the guy with the butter biscuits is gonna say, well, I don't want to lose those butter biscuits.
No. Let me slide this back into the realm of reality. Dynast, you ran track, bro. Who runs better? Who runs better, Dynast?
I think because of what we're talking in this context is I agree with Lou Major.
No, listen. Who runs better on a track field? The guy who's eating right, who got food, or a guy who ain't eating nothing? Basic nature. If you
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
No, but hold on. Let me ask
Can
that.
Comfortable people craft policy for uncomfortable people?
Go ahead.
How's that worked out?
Man, listen. All I know is if somebody's starving, they're not gonna make it past the first. They're not gonna make it up the block.
That's just not true, because I've actually seen starving people. I'm saying when a person is starving, bro, listen to me. Listen to me. There's actually some science to this. When a person is starving, the level of desperation that person will go to get to where they gotta get to is unlike anything you could possibly understand.
Okay.
A person with a full stomach is a person with a full stomach. Maybe he could travel further physically, but that starving person has something extra. It's called motivation. Now, with black people in particular, I'm gonna tell you why black people are in the state that they're in right now. Is because black people are two things. They're confused and comfortable. They're confused because they've got a few black people and black faces in high places that makes them think that they hold on hope to that maybe I could be the next nigga that gets picked. And they're comfortable because they're in a situation where they think they're in a good spot and they're too ignorant to know the difference. Black people were most effective in America when it was very, very clear that there is nothing that I'm fucked. I got nothing. When they were uncomfortable, when they were forced to stick together, when they were forced to work together. The only way black people are ever going to do anything for their own interest is when they have no choice. Let me tell you something. Yeah. I'm gonna go one step further, Brandon. And this is gonna be my controversial statement for the day. I think a race war would be good for black people. Here's why. These white folks, I think a race war would be good for black people. And I'm gonna tell you why. Black people would get slaughtered. You're all in one. We're all in one. No, I'm telling you, we're all in one compact places where we're concentrated. With this, hear me out. It would be like a Holocaust type event. It would probably slaughter 50% of the black population within 48 to 72 hours. But you know what would happen after that? Black people would realize, holy shit, we're in isolated environments where we're all in one place. We have no guns. We better stick together. Until black people start getting punched in the mouth, they're going to keep doing the dumb shit that they do today. I get this dumb Negro Rick who just got on here. You ask him a simple question of, what has Donald Trump actually done? The nigga didn't know. He was just sitting there spewing talking points that he heard on MSNBC. Exactly. That's how dumb niggas are right now. So the reality is, if niggas don't get into a situation where they are uncomfortable, where they're getting their asses whooped, they ain't going to change.
Yep.
They're not going to.
Hold on. I don't see how anybody could disagree with that.
Mr. Fitzgerald, you wanna add in, Mr. Stevens?
Why is every time I often come on the shows like this, black people always lumped in some category like we're all fools? That specifically is directed to you, Mr. Major.
Because most of you are. Your actions tell the world that you're stupid.
Yeah, our actions.
So, like, the reality is, you could be offended as much as you want, Mr. Stevens, but with all due respect, black people did go out.
I never said I was offended, man. Stop putting words in my mouth. You and I have never met. My name is Fitzgerald Stevens. Allow me to introduce myself. I was simply asking you a point. Give me the courtesy by not thinking through my mind. If I won by
no problem, Mr. Stevens. I'm just explaining why.
Yes, sir. But Mr. Major, what with a man like myself and in the group of men I hang around, we're not guilty of a lot of those things that you say. Now, I don't like putting everybody in a collective. I mean, So help me to understand. Help me to look at things. Who has ordered my life pretty decent. Come from a decent family who are self-sufficient. We see a lot of things. I see that. I want to unify. I believe I work with people who want to work with me, who we have similar interests, and the ones who don't, that's not my tribe. But I certainly wouldn't want to, be put down into a category where someone thinks that, that I'm trash, or I don't have interest in mine, or, I'm not fighting against better rights for my people and my, for my family, and to make choices that are decent, for not only others, but myself. I mean, I want to work with everyone who's workable, but I really found out, and I said, I was talking to a gentleman today. I found out, sir, that not everybody's my tribe, and I don't make it my business to try to work with those who are not working along with interests that I think is best for everybody. I don't. Mainly economic wealth, social wealth, political power, even separation. Now, one thing you did bring to mind, and my father taught me this years ago, and he's absolutely right. He said that separation was integration rather was the worst things he thought to happen to Black people. This is a 78-year-old man, making a statement like that, and I agree with my father, because he said, hey, we had our own schools, we were more self-sufficient. I mean, for somehow along the line, we was actually better. I don't know why people can't look at that model and see, that really is a better model to work with. But yeah, there's a lot of white terrorism in this nation. There's a lot of white terrorism in the world. When people try to more time get businesses, either if they didn't take it through lynching or burning, now they take it through their court systems and stuff like that. But still, I still think separation is. I think separation is probably the best remedy for us. I truly do.
I agree with you. I'm a Black nationalist, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm a Black nationalist in the sense that I am pro-Black people, not anti anybody else, and I believe and that we should do things and look out for our own interests.
Well, you and I can break bread together, because
Mr. Stevens, let me say something, Mr. Stevens. One of the issues, what we as a people have, is that we are individually confident in ourselves, as you are individually confident in yourself. But if we're all honest, we have a lot of incredibly talented people individually, but we have a collective problem in terms of we are collectively stupid. And here's the problem, Mr. Stevens. The reality is that collective stupidity puts every single Black person and their progeny at risk. Because, Mr. Stevens, here's the deal. You are a highly intelligent man, I would imagine. I would imagine that you're highly successful. But you are naturally, inherently in a dependent position, because you cannot rely on your community to competently create structures in place to protect you from being discriminated against or attacked. Yes, if somebody were to go ahead, Mr. Stevens, and kill you or try to kill you, you would be on your own, Mr. Stevens. So the reality is we have to, as Black people, stop focusing on our individual successes and start realizing that our group success is more essential than our individual success, because the reality is, if we as a group do not stand strong, then no matter how talented you are or how accomplished you are, Mr. Stevens, you will always be weak. Yes, you may feel strong, and I'm not saying you fall in this category, but one Black man may feel, or woman may feel strong, or may feel whatever they want. But if you are by yourself and you are reliant on a community of people who do not look like you, then you will fall. You will be easily broken, beaten, and destroyed at the whim of another group. So why do I say these things about our collective nature? Because these things are a problem, and they put all of us at risk. When we have a situation where we as a people can be easily manipulated to vote against our own fucking interest, that is putting all of us at risk. Yes. Because Black people were not competent enough to realize what was their own interest in the primaries, we go ahead and face a pandemic And now we know on the other side, there will be no benefit, there will be no change to allow us to be in a better position because we collectively were too incompetent to know what's in our best interest. So if we don't start calling out the collective issues that we have as a community, then we will always be at risk. That means I will be at risk. That will mean you will be at risk. That will mean your children will be at risk. So the reason I espouse to Black nationalism is because I'm saying maybe I might be individually more talented than most people, but if my collective group remains incompetent, and if my collective group does not start to learn to do for themselves, ourselves, building our own economies, educating our own schools, owning our own communities, if we don't start doing that, then no matter how high a Black man or woman will soar, you will always be at the mercy of others. And therefore, even when we do have a Black face in a high pace, they will never look out for your interests because they don't have a safety net within your community. So at the end of the day, the dog is going to be loyal to whoever feeds him the most. And if we're not capable of feeding our own, when our own get to high positions, they'll never look out for us. As a matter of fact, they will be one of the biggest tools as to oppress and control us, which is what's happening right now, which is what happened with Obama. So I don't care how. Go ahead, brother.
I just want to say this. It's just like your family, right? You can be as successful as you want to be, but if your family is not a part of your success, what are they going to do? They're going to just come and try to beg and borrow for whatever you got. And when you say no to them, they're going to start resenting you, and they're going to actually become your enemy. The same way in our community, you can have all the individual success you want, but guess what? If you don't make it to where everyone can come up, you're going to be at the ATM and get your brains blown out by someone who looks just like you, right? So we're lumped in because we're lumped in. Just because we psychologically choose to try to remove ourselves, it does not mean that the situation doesn't have an impact on us. So the best thing to do is to buy into this idea of collectivism like everybody else does, right? I was at this place the other day, an Indian guy told me, he said, man, in my culture, we like to give each other a hand up. We like to help each other up. How come Black people don't do that? What we do is our idea of helping our people is by trying to sell them something, trying to benefit or capitalize on them, right? But you got to create opportunities for people who don't have the ability to take advantage of what you're offering them. That's called nationhood. A bum could come along with no money, just like a billionaire could come along too. Everybody is included, and you set up institutions and infrastructure that looks out for everybody. It may not give them everything they want, but it will at least supply them with their basic needs. Black people in America are welcome to come along as long as they're willing to settle for whatever crumbs the white man is dropping for them. This partially, in a way, for us, that's true too. But what we're doing is we're just saying I, and we're just starving our people. Oh, they don't get it. Oh, well, they're not a part of me. I'm da-da-da. Well, you could keep thinking like that, but even your institutions that you seek to build are in grave jeopardy if there is no institution or infrastructure based on your beingness, just being Black, that is built up to protect it. So we can't just separate ourselves because we got a different financial situation or because ideologically we're different. We also have to consider those who are less than us or are less fortunate than us and figure out a way to incorporate them into whatever we're doing at all costs.
Mr. Brandon,
now, Mr. Stevens. Mr. Stevens, I'm actually going to give you the floor here, but I'm actually going to personalize this for you in a very real way. Now, Mr. Stevens, I don't know if you have children, but I'm going to assume you have a son, just for the sake of conversation. Mr. Stevens, but I know, just for the sake of, you know what? Let's not use you. Prince, Mr. Amir, you do have a son.
Correct.
If your son got shot by the police and murdered tomorrow, what would be the recourse to make sure that there's justice for you and your son?
There's no recourse.
What would you be? Who would be in the streets to make sure that there's justice for you and your son? Would there be anybody?
No.
Or would you have to eat that?
I would have to hope and pray that Keisha Lance Bottoms, we will do the whatchamacallit, the me, Keisha Lance Bottoms, we'll do the come on TV and how we're gonna be tough on crime. Well, not tough on crime, but police reform and that reform.
And then nothing would happen.
The climate we're in now, Antifa and everybody and Black Lives Matter, they'll probably be out in the streets and they'll forget about it in about a week.
Now, Mr. Amir, what if you were an Ashkenazi white Jew and your son was killed by the police? What do you think would happen?
It'll be taken care of. I wouldn't have to get on TV. I won't have to meet with Keisha Lance Bottoms. Nothing. It'll be taken care of.
That cop would lose his job. He'd go to jail. There would be some severe consequences, and most likely that cop would probably seriously end up dead. That's the difference.
Lou Major, I'll give you another. In Alabama, Indian guy flew into he came from India to visit his family member in Alabama. He spoke no English. He was walking around the neighborhood at night. They suspected that he was a black guy. So the police came and they were, giving him his orders in English. He couldn't understand. He doesn't speak English. So they kind of roughed him up a little bit. A counselor or whatever you want to call it, from India flew the next day to Alabama, and that dude was fired. That cop.
Exactly. See, that's the difference. You see the difference, Mr. Stevens? You may not want. We as a community don't want to hear about our community. We as a community try to say, well, I'm not like that. My friends aren't like that. Fuck you and your friends. The community is like that. And at the end of the day, it puts us all at risk. It's dangerous. It's to the point now that it is physically dangerous that our community is this incompetent. So if we don't start dealing with this on a communal level, you are putting my child at risk. You're putting your children at risk. You're putting everybody at risk because we don't want to deal with it because it hurts our fucking feelings. Look at the situation that we're in right now. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are your nominee. You know why they're your nominee? Because niggas was stupid. Niggas were too dumb to know their own interest and voted for him in the primary when they could have voted for Bernie Sanders. So now everybody has to suffer because of dumb niggas. You think those Latinos aren't mad about that? You think Latinos don't have resentment for niggas because of that shit? Because they had enough common sense to know what their interests were. So now they're stuck with Kamala Harris. You think they ain't mad about that? You think a whole lot of people ain't mad at black people right now? They sure are mad at black people right now because of black incompetence. We just sent the whole world a message. Niggas are stupid. And that's why they're talking to us the way they're talking to us. That's why they're disrespecting us the way they're disrespecting us. We're all getting disrespected because as a community, we're incompetent. So if we don't start solving that problem, this is this is what awaits us. We can't keep making these excuses of I'm not like that. Because guess what? It doesn't matter if you're not like that. You get affected all the same. You better start getting your black nationalism on, people.
Black people voted for Joe Biden because Joe Biden gives them an excuse to continue being ignorant for another 4 years. They don't like Donald Trump because he throws it in their face and forces them to acknowledge that they play a role in the situation that they're in. And Donald Trump does not support the victim mindset. So black people aren't voting for Joe Biden for progress or black power. They're voting for Joe Biden for black comfort. So when it goes bad, they can just blame Joe Biden. The way they voted for Obama and then he didn't do anything. Oh, our problems are caused by Obama. Now the problems are caused by Trump. Next time they'll be caused by Biden. We just love passing the buck. And that's why black people support Biden and Kamala, because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are like, look, black people, don't worry about being responsible. Just vote us in and we'll take things back to being the same. And that's what we want. We don't want progress. We want familiarity and comfort, period.
Now, Mr. Stevens, I'll give you the floor because I know you've patiently waited. So I'm going to step back, and Mr. Tucker, I suggest you do the same. Go ahead, brother.
Would you explain the point like that, and you putting it like far as like that? I was clearly wrong in my assessment. I'll admit that. Okay, being an elder and seeing this year after year, I am a product of my environment. It's very, very frustrating to see the things that you're articulating quite well and feel like you're powerless to do anything about it in this land. I mean, you know, so but when you way you put it like that, yeah, if you're talking like that, you're 100% point. You're 100% wrong. And I was wrong just to say, hey, well, my friends and, you know, we don't think like that. You like to think that you're bringing something, but it still stands. How do you get people to think in nation building? How do you get our people to think like we are one, as opposed to someone? Or, you know, how do you get people to not the leaders, the so-called leaders? Well, black people don't have leaders over here. How do you get us to think like, okay, we need to galvanize for the collective instead of the individual? It's not enough that you get yours and let's help someone else and let's move as one. How do you do that? Because, you know, evidently it is past some of the greatest minds around. You know, we don't have a Mr. Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey is simple. You know, I'm getting out of here and going to Africa. We don't have a Paul Robeson anymore, or Malcolm Shabazz, or, you know, those people who try to unite. And when I just don't get it. I mean, do I think we're better off right now? No, I think we're actually regressing.
Can I answer that?
You're right.
Let me jump in, and Brandon, it's all yours. This is where one of the things that I shamelessly do is I learn from other groups of people, and I look at how white people deal with their rednecks, and I look at how the Chinese deal with their low level people. You got to understand that what we have are called niggas, but every racial group got niggas. Everybody's got niggas. They just got different names. White people got rednecks. Asians, they got something else. I don't know what they call their niggas, but we all got niggas. The difference is how do everybody else treat their niggas? They treat them like trash. That's how they treat their niggas. We as we are the only community that glorifies our niggatry, that glorifies our incompetence. There's no consequences for incompetence in our community. And at the end of the day, when somebody calls out niggatry, we're quick to tear those people apart. And what I would say is the first thing is we got to do is redefine what black is, which means a whole lot of people with dark skin are suddenly going to not be black. Meaning, if you are the way the Chinese do it is you could make as much money as you want, you could be as rich as you want, but if you ain't doing something for China, fuck you. And that is very, very clear and strictly enforced. They don't care if you were born in China. They don't care who you are. If you ain't doing something for China, if you ain't bringing it back to China, then you could go fuck yourself. And we ain't riding for you. We ain't got your back. And that's the way black people need to be. You could be as rich as you want. You could have as much money as you want. If you ain't doing something for black people, then fuck you. May you die slow with a thick dick in you. That's how we ought to start thinking and really start acting. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what everybody else does. The second thing we ought to do is the way you start moving is that I believe within the black community that there is a rage that is brewing within a lot of black people. And I believe that rage even exists in you, Mr. Stevens, whether you see it or not, but I know it's very clear in others. And that is that this anger within your own community of this feeling of I'm on a losing team. Now, if you're an athlete like I am, I'm gonna go to Dynasty. Dynasty is probably the most elite athlete among us in this call. Dynasty, imagine if you play as a football player, were a hell of a football player. You are a great football player, but you're on a team that sucked. No matter, you could run for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns in a game, yet you would still lose. You give everything you've got, but your team always lose. You make the Pro Bowl every year, but your team never wins a game. How would you feel?
Upset. Ready to
now,
ask for a trade.
You can't be traded. You got a lifetime contract. You on this team, boy. What would you do?
Start cussing everybody out, cussing out the linemen, cussing out.
Retire early.
And that's how most high-level and talented black people feel. You feel like you're doing everything you can. You busting your ass. You're doing the right thing, but you're on this losing ass shitty team. And so what I propose is that we create a new team. And we tell those black folks, hey, listen, come join my team and let's go do something. And the first thing you got to do is you got to prove to those black folks that you're serious. That means you go out and you actually do something. That's why you go back to Africa, you build something. Because let me tell you something, 40 years ago, I say it all the time, China was poorer than most African countries. How did China become rich? It's very simple. A few Chinese businessmen started going to China and they started building factories, manufacturing their goods, then shipping them to Chinese people all over the world. And they would go ahead and open up these stores and sell these trinkets at a very cheap and affordable price. And over time, and Mr. Stevens, you probably remember this since you're older than all of us, people started going all the way to Chinatown to buy stuff because it was so cheap.
Right.
Eventually, those white folks started realizing, how the hell are they making these things so cheap? They figured out they were making it in China, and all of a sudden they moved their factories there. And it all started with a few Chinese people saying, I'm Chinese first, and I'm going to do something for my own people. So it's going to start with black people who have this rage. If you have this rage, and I know a lot of you on this call do have this rage, step up, step out. Let's do something. You take 500 focused, driven, and determined black people. You put them together, and they have one goal in mind. They will make drastic, effective, and aggressive change. And once that's done, and it's proven that it's possible, it'll grow like wildfire. And then the rest of the people, the rest of the black folks, or what we would call black folks today, who don't have a black nationalist mindset, then we will separate ourselves from them first. See, we think we got to separate ourselves from white people. No, we got to separate real black people from the niggas. And a real black is in essence a black nationalist. We need to stop being afraid of that word, meaning that we are looking out for the interest of black people first before the interest of anybody else. That doesn't mean I have a problem with anybody else. It just means that I'm going to look out for my own interest. And once you have that mindset, you don't get mad at white people for looking out for their interest or Asians for looking out for their interest. They're just doing what everybody else is doing. And black people need to do the exact same goddamn thing and stop making excuses. And if you're an excuse-making bullshitter, I don't roll with you and you ain't black. That's the first step.
Lou, I mean, to piggyback off what you're saying, like, okay, basically, Dr. Amundsen Wilson said, until we start thinking of ourselves as a nation, we'll never make progress. And people say nationhood, and a lot of people don't really understand what that means. Nationhood essentially means you have a place to be, right? You know how some people say you have nowhere to be, you feel left out. Chinese are in America, but if America fell apart today, they could just go back to China. Indians are in America. If they go back to India today, they go right in. Nobody's disputing their heritage, nothing. They just go right on in. Being a nation means you have a place to be. So no one can, if they kick you out of your club, out of their club, you can say, I got my own damn club and I'm going to go over there. Black people don't have that. We don't have anywhere to be because we every day work to sever the umbilical cord that attaches us to where we're from, which is Africa. How do you get black people to come along? All you got to do is build it and they will come. How do you get people to go to church? I was a person who was an evangelizer before this. We didn't go dragging people out their house, kicking them and insulting them. We knocked on their door. We told them what we had to offer. If they felt it was something valuable, they came on in. If they didn't, guess what? Thank you so much. It's no problem. And we might come back to them in a year or 6 months later, right? Guess what? The numbers constantly grew because if you build it, people will come to it. You just have to wait until life whoops their ass enough to the point where they see the value in what you're offering. And that's what we seek to do in Africa. Just build something. So because America is going to whoop black people's ass one way or another, right? But the reason why black people are so hesitant to leave or come together is because a lot of them feel like, where are we going to go? America has all these sayings of all this great stuff. Where will we go that's better than here? Well, once you build it and they take that licking, what you offering, the grass gonna look way more greener on the other side once America gets a hold of them. Right now, our people just have nowhere to go because the older generation didn't build it for us. They left us here holding on to a hope and a prayer saying, oh, this and that, and you could do this in civil rights, right? And so that's all we got. So now the younger generation has stepped up to actually build things where people can go. So if America abuses them, They kick us out the club. We don't need that damn club. We got somewhere to be. We got somewhere we can go. And that's how you're going to get black people to come along. You're not going to have to do nothing on your own, like towards them. Just wait for life to happen. Just like a person leave the church, life kicked their ass, and then they end up right back in the church, right? Because life then whooped on them so much, they then begin to see the value of being in the church where they're protected. So we got to build a church, so to speak, where black people can come once America has had their way with them. And I'm telling you, the numbers will grow exponentially at that point, but we got to build something first.
And another thing I'm going to add to it, piggyback on this, Brandon, is this. One of the ways that you can see how people truly feel about you as black people, feel about us as black people, is whenever we start to complain and we start saying this ain't right. What's their trump card? Well, if you don't like it, you should what?
Leave.
Go back to Africa. And that shuts you up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that they can say that to you and that shuts you up pretty much should tell you what you need to do. You take away the trump card. You want to make sure you're in a position that when they say, well, if you don't like it, you should go back to Africa, you could say, yeah, I will. And the way you do that is you build it. Because here's the thing. We ain't the only person who got told that. There used to be a time where they would tell Chinese that. There used to be a time where they would tell Indians that. Now Europe is having a problem right now. The UK is actually scared right now and are trying to figure out how to solve this because so many Indians are leaving the UK to go back to India that they're concerned that they're going to have a shortage of engineers and computer scientists. It's called the Great UK Brain Drain.
Lou Major, that Kamala Harris got that legislation proposed for those HB1 visas to bring those Indians over here. They leaving the UK to come here because they got them one in the White House now. I'm telling you, that's literally what she did. She raised the limit. She's trying to raise the limit on HB1 visas so she can give them to those her Indian people so they can come and work and make money in the United States. That's why you're seeing all that Indian flight out of the UK.
But right now they're going back to India because India is on track to be the third largest economy in the world in the next 10 years. They used to say that stuff to the Indians. They used to say that stuff to the Chinese. One of the reasons why the United States is mad about all these Chinese students coming over to America and studying is because they can't keep them in America. Used to be the Chinese would come, they would study, and they could hire them. Now these Chinese, they come, they study, then they leave. It's a problem. You see how that now all of a sudden you won't dare hear nobody say, well, if you Chinese people don't like it here, go back to China. They'll know those Chinese will say, well, go fuck yourself, I'm going. There's a certain level of respect for Chinese people because they've got China. A lot of black people.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank you because you are one of the few older people who actually are willing to listen to what the young men and young people in our community have to say. And when you listen to us, you realize these brothers are not dumb. They have good ideas. They're smart. But the average man your age in my community, he looks at me like with jealousy. He don't want to see me succeed because I might do something better than what he did. You know, if I don't do it the way he thinks
not going
it's
to
best.
be here forever, Brandon. My generation's not going to be here forever. Mr. Major, Mr. Brandon, Prince Amir. Men in my age, especially like we're tired. You know, we've been doing this almost 6 decades, man. You know what? You know, hey, with my business, with my gold business, my cryptocurrency business, maybe you listen sometimes, you hear me talk about 3 years. I want to be in Africa. I just want to like divorce myself and just go over to a planet where, place where I can get peace. Somewhere I don't feel is here. I just don't. So it gets tired. I have the strength, I have the energy, I have the youth. I guess I just don't have the patience anymore, man. I mean, it can't be a form a protest to write something on the Facebook and share a tear emoji and all that BS. I believe in economic clout. I believe in moving. I believe in making enemies pay. For far as you bring the pain to us, we bring it to you. And not necessarily getting guns out and stuff like that. If it come to it, so be it. But some ways to make them like we destroy you economically, just like all the rest of the cats do. But if you're not going to get that, man, do I really got 20 more years to give in the cause like that, or do I want to take it up there? Okay, make my money, make my residual income, which I will, which will be very good. And I just want to go to Mozambique somewhere, buy me a nice cafe, sit on the beach, and get peace in my later years. I'm leaning towards the second one, and that's sad. And that really is sad. I grew up in Southeast Alabama, man. I've been around this stuff all my freaking life, and look like the killings is exasperating. Like the black on black dysfunction is exasperating. Look like the religious leaders or the celebrities, those are the showpieces for the community instead of the bankers and the economists and the people who really have, it just wears you down mentally and physically. Now talking to you young men and seeing this, man, it's actually giving me new energy. It's actually giving me new energy, but I realize, man, I can't believe I'm getting ready to say this. That torch is y'all. My generation, we ain't able to carry it. Something's wrong here. There's been a lull to sleep. I'm not angry enough. I just want to march and we shall overcome. It's not a galvanizing economics like, hey, I'm going to shut this dang thing down, or then shut this economy down. We're gonna do what we need to do to fight back. It's just the will's not there. Oh, you can get a few exceptions, man, but so that torch belongs to y'all. And I'm not, giving that out to as far as what a cowardness, but dude, if my generation has had from 18 to like the 50 or 60 something, and we ain't did the dang thing yet, or we surely can't stand in the way of men, the younger generation, men like you and Brandon and Amir, who coming up and want to take the torch away from us. I mean, we can't. The best thing we can do is just step aside and maybe listen to some new ideas that obviously, that we haven't thought of, and with some actions to spur change, because singing songs and going in church is not getting it.
I absolutely agree with you. Again, I believe the solution for black people is black nationalism. If you want to go ahead and pull this show off of your platform so you don't get in trouble with YouTube, Dynast, go for it. But those who are listening, the solution for black people is black nationalism. Not black extremism, not black supremacy, black nationalism.
Sir,
what is black?
Can you please explain that term? Because for those of us, we hear it, but we think we know it. I'm a guy, when I hear black nationalism, I think, oh, well, pro-black. Can you please explain to me and the rest of the audience exactly?
Black nationalism, in simplistic terms, means the following things: that black people need to control their communities, own their communities, educate their own kids, create their own jobs, and should have preference for them and their people, and their interest over the interest of anybody else, and should therefore be understanding when others are going to look out for the preferences in their interest of their people over your own. I'm saying that black people should have the mindset of, like, for example, the Black Lives Matter movement. The very concept of a movement like that is, to me, anti-black. Why? Because to say Black Lives Matter, who are you trying to convince that Black Lives Matter? A white person, a black life is not going to matter to him as much as a white life, because he's not black. And in addition to that, it is not his responsibility for your life to matter to him as much as his people's lives matter to him. It is your responsibility to value you and your people's lives above his. So he should be coming to you and saying white lives matter, not you going to him and saying black lives matter, because at the end of the day, hey, I know my life doesn't matter to you. It's not supposed to. Your life is supposed to matter to you more than anybody else. The black life should matter to black people more than anybody else, period. And if it doesn't, the fact that we're having to go out there and tell white people to value our lives, that means you're not going to feel your life is valuable unless white people value it. That's a problem. Black nationalism simply says that I am going to educate my own kids. I'm going to own my own community. I'm going to manage my own resources. A lot of times you go into black communities and there's no fresh foods. There's no grocery stores. You're absolutely right. That's because black people don't want to take the responsibility of opening a goddamn grocery store. They're waiting for white folks to open up a Stop and Shop in their community. No, that's not their job to open up a Stop and Shop in your community. It's your job to open up some kind of a Stop and Shop in your community. That's your job, not their job. It's not their. A lot of black people will complain about, you know, a lot of black people complain about, hey, I'm not, a lot of black people complain about, I'm not getting, you know, a good education for my kids in these schools, in these public schools. Well, of course you're not getting a good education for your kids in these public schools. That's not their responsibility to educate your kids.
That's right.
That's your responsibility to educate your kids. They're going to educate their own kids. It's your job to educate your kids. It's your job to create jobs in your community. It's your job to keep your community safe. It's your job to go ahead and feed your people quality food. That is your responsibility. You don't sit around and wait and live in somebody else's community, in somebody else's land, in somebody else's house, and wait for them to create businesses so they could take your money. Black nationalism simply says that the onus falls on us, and it is our responsibility to do stuff. The problem is a lot of black folks who are listening right now. I bet you if you look at the chat right now, you're going to have some Negro from ADOS who's going to say, well, we didn't get our reparations. We ain't got no money. You're going to have some people saying, well, they're allowed to do that. There's a lot of excuses for us to be able to take comfort in the opium of our own victimhood. But I also know that there's a lot of people who are listening to this call right now who feel the same way that you do, Mr. Stevens, who are angry, who are tired of being part of a losing team. Those people are who I'm talking to. I ain't talking to none of you ADOS Negroes. You guys are niggas. I don't give a fuck about y'all. I'm talking to the people who are angry, and I bet you there's a whole bunch of them who are tired of losing the game and want to start a whole new game. And the new game is we look out for our own people. We look out for ourselves, and we build something for ourselves. That's the solution to our problem. It's not reparations. It's not who you vote for. It's black nationalism, period. And if you're not a black nationalist, you ain't black.
All right, Ms. Fitzgerald, if you want to respond, then we'll go ahead and close out.
Mr. Major, you don't realize how pathetic you're speaking, man. I have such newfound respect for you. You know, at one time, you know, if actually cats look through and see, and I for one have thought you was always sound like you're angry all the time. No, you're frustrated. You ain't get the situations. I understand it now, and so I have such respect for you, for your generation, for what you're doing. Man, but you know, keep it doing how this elder can support you. Hey, I would definitely like to do it. But still a part of my spirit, man, and a lot of it's came from my relationship with Dynast, my relationship of being integrated into this channel in 6 days a week. I just don't think this is my land. I mean, you know, if I go to Africa, well, unfortunately, you know, a lot of us African Americans, we've been cut off. We don't know where we came from. It's such from a DNA test, you know. I pick a place, but I just want to go around somewhere where I don't have to concern myself about the color of my skin. I see a lot of stuff happening over in Africa. You know, I see a lot of things going on there. I just want to go somewhere that I could just chill out. But listen to what I am right now and listen to why I'm deriving that conclusion is absolutely wrong, because that's a selfish play, knowing what I do know and not being able to impart into someone else, you know. So if I give up, you know, okay, fine, I'm cool, but what about the cats coming behind me? You know, so somebody got to do something, man. So you've actually given me more energy to really fight again. You've energized me, whether you realize it or not. But you know, so now I'm looking at it. Hey, maybe I need to hold that African plan off a little bit, you know, and you know, try to find a network and try to find like-minded cats like myself and put them in touch with cats like you and Brandon and Amir. It's like, y'all need to listen to these young brothers. You know, they have some stuff that we don't. You know, we're getting ready to fade out. You know, another 15 years. Hey, man, we're 70 years old. We can't carry this torch. And actually, to be honest with you, we fought a uphill battle, but we have not nearly gained the ground. Perhaps, you know, we need to bring in the new jacks and let them do it. And we need to get behind it with our wisdom and our resources and support them. That's the way I'm thinking now. And I thank you for that.
All right, Lou Major, go ahead and close out. Lou Major.
I've got a simple, you know, thing that I would say. I think it should be almost required listening. You know, there's a series of books, but I know not all of us have time to read with busy schedules. I think a required listening should be the following speech by Malcolm X called "The Ballot or the Bullet." Okay?
I'm well familiar with it.
Okay, I think everybody who heard what I had to say and agreed with what I had to say, go listen to that speech. And if you agree still with what I had to say, and you agree still with that speech, and you want to know more about Black nationalism, get in contact with Mr. Amir, because that is the solution. That is the ideology, and we need to stop being afraid of that word. A lot of white folks have made us scared of saying that word. We don't want to say it. We don't want to say Black nationalist. Well, I'm going to come out and I'm going to say Black nationalist, because that's got to be our viewpoint. If we don't start looking out for ourselves and start looking at us to start moving on a collective mindset, then we are going to constantly get distracted and bogged down by irrelevant and stupid things. And we will constantly be led astray. I need you all, and I'm being very honest here and sincere, I need you all to think about what's going on, what we've seen throughout this election. We have had so-called Black leaders, the Roland Martins of the world, the Angela Rye's of the world, who the Karen Hunters of the world, people who you would think love Black people, try to justify the idea of us voting at one point for Michael Bloomberg, a man who went ahead and pushed stop and frisk, and then got angry when a young brother went ahead and exposed what he said about Black people because of the fact that they knew that sunk that ship. We had those same people who are still to this day telling us to go vote for Joe Biden, knowing that he wrote that crime bill, who told us to vote for Hillary Clinton when she called us super predators. I think that the first thing that we ought to start understanding is all of these Black media outlets ain't for you. They ain't looking out for you. They don't care about you. They are paid hacks. As my man Holip Sism said, they're paid hacks. Their interest, okay, is not your interest. So the first thing that you got to start understanding is, and start embracing is Black nationalism. And make it clear. A Black nationalist is the least racist person on the planet. Why is they the least racist? Because they're not angry. They understand that it's nothing but business. I got a team, you got a team, and we're all looking out for our interests. I don't get mad when white people don't want to acknowledge white privilege. Why would they? Is that in their best interest to acknowledge white privilege? If you were white, would you acknowledge white privilege? Would you do that? No, you wouldn't. So if you wouldn't acknowledge white privilege, because once you acknowledge it, that means you got to do something about it. You're going to go ahead and fight to the tooth and nail. So why are we sitting there waiting for white people to do something that's against their best interest? If you were white, would you want a lot of abortion clinics in your community? When you have a dwindling birth rate, it's very soon going to be less of you than there is of everybody else, and you knew that you acquired your wealth to nefarious and brutal means, would you want to be in a situation where there's less of you and more of everybody else who you fucked over in some way? Or would you go ahead and try to do things to prevent that? So you're not going to take it as personal. It's on you. It's on us to start looking out for our own interests. It's on us to start shutting these abortion clinics down in our community. It's on us to kick out these people who are selling bad food and bad things to our people. And it's on us to start growing our own food, processing our own products, and consuming them. It is on us to start creating our own jobs. It is on us to start educating our own kids. The buck starts and stops with us. And I know that there are some of you who are listening who knows that that's true. And those of you, your first action step is to go listen to that speech. The second action step is, if you agree with that speech, you get in contact with Mr. Amir. Now let's find out who's serious and who's all talk. That's all I got.
No problem. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you go to dynastymir.com. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No problem.